开始啊！
等一下，补一根。
补一根哦，
挡一根。
因为我妈妈，因为我们在抽烟。等你爸爸出去啊！
嗯，
你爸爸出去啊！
是吧？等一下，双手已经在抖。
好了啦，今天不是说可以不抽烟？
一整天嘞。
可以啊，那是会抖啊。有两个有前提的。
我都已经流手汗了。应该还好，先开始，还没出去，等一下。
你的世界，
那会天大地大，找无人美人。阮当下为无情家在有你有我，永转人生的路，亲像一首歌。人讲人生间有好歹无
抽烟，不是抽烟。
还没出门啊？
一巴掌给他倒了啦！
选慢一点，选慢一点。
哦，想要在进去前抽一根。
所以呢，把你妈打晕，你直接过去点了。
人讲人生间有好歹，无人安生的来。咱袂真常。哪会天大地大，找无人。
这点一次啊！
那个大火忘记。
没关系，我只怕那个，我什么都怕啊。
要不要给你先选？到时候被抢走，一场就被抢走啊！724有人抢。
没差啦。
运转人生，
好听的哦，真的蛮好听的。昨天
听歌吗？
跟他们去唱歌，这个蛮好听的哦。
真的蛮好的。我嘛不知影，
华裔计程车行，
为什么变成怎办？总是为你人理想，来记着莫拖沙。年轻声谢声，现在这个世间海海，无人会知。哪会天大地大，找无人美人。永转人生的路，亲像一首歌。
哎，所以16号，所以14号唱歌吗？
可以啊，
认真问，想唱呢？
我可以啊。
真切，
朋友兄弟，咧计较啥？你若是相信，无得讲，我陪你念一歌。我若手纸，过去就前后切切啦。现在这个世间海海，无人会知。哪会天大地大，找无人美人。万海社会 哦，人讲人心境好歹，无人安生会来。
日票，
来地大地大，找无人。
来用手机铃声好了。
我知哦。一种日心。圆月一木的大腿啊！
鸡巴。
人讲人心境有好歹，无人安生会来。反在社会无情甲在。多久啊？
哪只啊
？99吧。
哦，那我先去抽，再见。
OK。
去抽烟是不是？
反在社会无情甲在，有理有啊。
对无人的人。
还没开始哦。
还没。
这个世界海海无人会知，这无人的人。
那你听过？
开始喽，开始喽！
干你娘！
对啊，刚点是不是？
他刚点而已。
先放窗边，现在买装。
先放旁边，现在买装哦。
先走到这，走到这。OK， 这里。
谁看啊？他这样子被给人哦，没有，他没有，他没有找你。
哇，我懂的啊，先走到那啊。再20秒再赶回去，应该来得及。这个都是献给我自己的。
Oh, baby. 跟着谁和了这彼此别。哎，帅哥，差不多喽。
怒抽，
等下头再晕怎么办？
嘿嘿嘿
踹不倒人呢、
哦，有点晃哎，真的。
哈哈哈哈！
哦，太久没抽哎，哦干
打，小了，
哦，还有没抽完，
对吧？为你留着，
干你娘鸡掰嘞，
被你弹掉了，
删掉啦，他妈检举对面，操！
浪费你一根烟呢、
哦，半根，摇一下手臂都给爆断。
哇，成为速检呢，出来就看到回馈更新。哦，干，难怪刚进去那么久。
哦，鸡掰嘞，干。
Oh baby，是你。这狗大北的天气阴晴不定，太阳到底
哦哦，抽太快有点想吐。
哼，
不习惯。
baby，
Teddy，我是 Teddy。OK，那我先去尿尿。
是狗大北的天气阴晴不定，太阳到底。阿哥，你要上班了？
要，
要。
对，我下班之后那个直接睡。
嗯。定爷。被吹克。
一口哎，我操！
敢配口真的很烦。
雷欧娜上路，塞恩中路，没有输出，恭喜，玩个输出角了。
吗？还有人？
没有，他塞恩打野。
干我中路哦，我
哦，
干，又有打野，没有特别想玩打野。派克中路哦，还卡玛。
应该派克攻。他们几乎全部攻哎。
全部攻哦。
几乎啊，有看吗？
啊，我们基本上全魔攻呢。
也没有
啊？
可是我那个告五是什么好坏？刚那个。
对吧？
胆胆好
对，这个
臭
好，帅。这个好有。
胆胆好臭。
很好吃。我的弟弟真的好臭啊！
好了，你嘴巴也很臭啦，脚也很臭了，妈的！他妈今天开车干他妈的臭脚臭味，
好啦，脚臭味嘞！你他妈的硬要抽那个电子烟，那跟车上的臭味杂在一起。
哎、关我什么事？
互闻啊，看谁脚比较臭啊，
听起来有点涩。
湿的就舔啊。
对，哪一种算输？比较臭的输还是比较香的输？
比较臭的是，我老妈打
蜜
来了。
月优饮黑口。
喂，不要，不想吃烧肉饼，帮我买个猪血
因为我那
汤就好了。
怎么都是烟味啊？
拜拜。
因为我那怎么都是烟味啊？嘿嘿，啊你在你家阳台抽啊？
对吧？
看对面劲有点强哎，32等。
哇，这上路人啊，他也塞恩，
对，他们说不定很猛。
感觉不是很猛，就是很烂。
你说不是很猛就是很烂。
嗯哼，
对的，对的。两个不耻之货呢？
人讲人生境有好歹，无人安生会难。真的好想啪啪哦！
没有很久，什么情况？
100趴了，100趴了。
他们那有那种有马啊，我想要骑马。
但这造型有点帅。哎、哦，他怎么带到重击啊？
哎、大重击，
Oh my god！
Oh my goddess！
阿里大重击，搞笑咖，哎、
对吧？我不是很猛，故事很烂。
结果没过去啊，结果没看我直接躲先弹。
哦
不要抢这。Oh my goddess！
啊、怎么盖伦又被摸到那边去了啊、他妈对面在恶心人的是不是啊？那断流那兵线，阿北啊，
有点炸了。
好吧，投一投了啦。
OK，稳定吃兵，
好一招怎么吃兵？
重击啊，
诶，他怎么是 p 狗？
海马钟，还带到饼哦，还带到饼干，怪怪的。
没分到，
哎，没有点到。
稳定漏兵， 重击也是可以的。
那会头破血流哎。来回个魔，回个魔。对。我早知道你在那啦。啊，你好会哦！
啊，你那回，
我不要喷了。对。过来怎么一开始直接在扫眼啊？妈神经病是不是啊？
有点准。
一开始直接在扫眼啊！
火影实录。
那这两次打得很凶哎。
哎呦，
开口在那。没有。
太神啦！这教招教有点丑啊。派翠克来啦 ！Oh my goddess！
他没回击去哦。
有点狠。
嗯，
你用跟他打金庸。
这样确实有点大力。
他应该会。阿景在这里。
开口怎么在这啊？
刚讲这个啊，你看他旁边有一圈吗？
我没发现。听到。喷死。
安静。
啊干！啊你要我哦。不对不对。操他妈逼的！为什么他妈干你俩全部卡在那个啊？全部卡在小兵啊！我一他妈都卡在小兵了，操！
他小。
看真的是卡小哎、看差一点。
派克一直游是怎样？
他们已经6等啦，我操！
哇！这个他不见了，镜不见了。
对，张狗不在。
东乡。 OK， 不是很烂就是很错。
我让他有全漏哎。
没关系，我疯狂麻他。
妈！
哦 p e c o 来了。干，怎么没尿到啊？去你妈的！他好像干他哎！哎干，他你喷干
好，
他兵线没进去，他是干嘛啊？
好荡。
皮他一下，没魔了，还在皮。我干，不要再烦了啦，滚啊！你过来啊！
装香。
你的身边。明白我爱的爱。那个我不见了，
陪考，
要回家了。他刚刚扛了2下塔，体验塔。啊，干我那么早眼，鸡巴眼。
哦，是谁啊？中路。
你糟了，手在地。什么大病啊？没清了还来？
可
以吗？
不在谱。干妈逼的！这死咖小会不会是？那我自己。
哦，他这样都在重击，这么等你。
可能那 P 口都在皮啊！哎呀，插我啊！你插我啊！
红椒，红椒，
干！我妈的自己套我得干！哎，后面有了哦。啊，鸟位，不行，先尿个尿，等一下回来。
哦，差一点啊！一滴啊！
哎，妈的逼的！
哦，没带到 TP。
哎，感觉刚刚真的是应该直接走。 应该没耍白痴。
The Vasani left so much behind. I will find it all.
因为派克不见了。
干他妈 Jaxi 在这啊！
有点不是
完了，是啊。哦干，怎么遇到他妈卡里斯啊？
Azix，
I should have left
Ah.
them years ago.
操他妈逼的，然后去中路帮陈英文一下的。哦，
Turret plating will soon fall.
Quick as a fox. Let's run.
Your turret has been
Feel this.
啊你在啊，靠背啊，我以为你在。
就是像裸体哦。派克去中了，因为派克没事了。
艾翠克高歌离席，
派克，
啊，这么恶心哦！哦，还有近开啊！
You have been slain.
感觉是 man 的。
有看321，
哎呦，这种往下走有料。
哦，那个派刚回来了，
Strange. In a cute
派刚回来了。我看到上面跑在动。
派翠克，
没有手中哎，
他在用力。
light on my killing spree. You think you can win?
然后后面有派克。没干我没摸到他哦，操！我们要不要打卡玛？要不要打卡玛？
啊，不用不用不用，你去中你去中，
我去中。我没摸到他妈派克哦，干你哪里？哼。嗯，
I carry the legacy of the Vasani.
Enemy killing
完了。
Got you. Saw and saw here.
OK， 派克又要来了，我要回家了。
看追着 A，
Everything's more fun together, don't you think?
不要不要不要不要不要不要不要！
后面这边，派克哦。
Your turret has been destroyed. Shut down.
It took me too long to realize how beautiful life can be.
要我有个闪晕他，
可能超死。
Quick as a fox.
操！
An ally
我干，
has been slain.
My true nature.
我 p 口在这啦。
黑口游起来，
我干，这 p 口真的很烦呢。下一把变 p 口。
传过来啦！操我啦！这里
Live with no
我动机哦。
我靠，梦流的，看这人这么好，我以为他刚全吃诶，我操！
I'll see everything this world has to offer.
怎么贴着墙一直走，一直有那个啊？
Just for you.
漏跑车，歪，可以，操纵，可以，哭泣，
扎底啊！
没洗吧？
我都杀尽了。
喂，跑走位！
哎呦，听到了说
应该痛了。
敬爷，
哇，空中击落哎！
哎呦这对
好晕。
走位，
我操！
空中击落。看不懂。
这把好难玩哦，这游戏。哦，这游戏好难玩哦，感觉这游戏还是不太适合我，开欧卡好了。
哎呦，我靠！
欧卡是什么？
欧洲卡车，
欧洲卡车。
感觉这游戏好难玩哦，真的不太适合我诶。
认真一点啊！啊，真会怕哦。
我根本不会因为爱你而改变，我始终听不见你的劝。
也太紧张了，
太紧张了。
想吃甜点，想去电影院，而我却都嫌太远。你在委屈埋怨，我连生日都忘记敷衍，却只会要你乖一点点。那亏欠一直放在心里面，没人说出口。
感觉还不错。
你走远，抱紧你却抓不住你的爱，剩一点点。那一天你几乎带走我所有的从前，故事里不再出现与你相关的画面，一个人的幸福怎么变？泪滑落在彼此的脸，那瞬间不再让你离开我身边。
陆光光，
我身边。
哎，先 ban Payco 太棒。那机器人吗？哦，苏浩帮我背 Payco 了。
没有错，但其实应该还登不完，就刚刚往前。
被把你那个射的西全部被唬住。
我还是后面先把豌豆午饭黑白切，再加个卤蛋，下着多的长依然赶不上木在的8月。我也顿饭，脱掉外套去外面的注意，这么靠近我就知道是你。我的表面几乎包我，如果是你，我说没有问题。如果换作是你，不该说实话，那就顺着想法注册呀。不该去跟他们中意的，那又如何呀？受了更多仇恨，过得暴力怎会有用啊？虽然我们不一样，爸爸 we hate each other，想改变成见，每个人都不同立场，这个世界不要整天治疗梦想，打开视野。许多的人正在繁忙中被忽略，从来不会是焦点。Don't worry about me. Don't worry about you. Don't worry about you. Don't worry about you. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about you. Don't worry about you. Don't worry about you. 请记着我曾给你的美好，照换成每一天。请记得，也许你就是解压手一把每个钱。
可以冬天的时候昨天来了。
冬天日子少，科技让人类活得老，但材质却更深的少，剩下过去却蔓延少。动物努力跑，当然这些都无关险境，所以你不会知道。不再指责病痛的 pro， I know I saw， 看着远方高楼。
小戴来了。
基维尔，
西屌尔。
大头讲的套弄，一看人群总是冰冷，别来当武器，一下被人看清了。太生生不息，你还有
重年高壮年高，又会变壮年，
壮阳高。
啊，这种记到万众级呢，我不用，
我就是打野。
你这把打野。
看，这是每天都壮阳。
在讲什么啊？
就是消不掉啊。
结果消不掉，可能是病的。
消不掉。
消不掉，感觉是像正亮那种病了。
他妈蒙着眼睛打手枪。
等一下想要去买个麦当劳。
好油哦，肥仔。
好了啦，结果这边最常吃麦当劳就是你，所以我
不一定哦。
感觉陈彦伟有点油，
一直有点
油油腻腻的那种哦。
30 seconds until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
Pull the strings, watch them dance.
我干，大小，
Dangling vines.
看大小，
没有跪了，
妈直接挖在草里面啊！刚为什么他不扁你，扁我啊？
哇，
干双招全喷呢、
这死死我！
那他妈的怎么直接窝在那里啊？一套直接撞，波比直接撞上来碰我，
包比包比包比包包比包比包比包，
他妈的逼嘞！吓到我了，
Way to divinity.
那就吓到了。
没关系，兵是推的。
包比包比包比包，
你干嘛、啊？
有眼是不是？有的。嗯，
All make sacrifice.
Has been slain.
为什么没分到？
I know
哎呦，
我那可以帮你挡吗 ？Q 我那可以帮你挡，他的 Q。
又不行，
I know the true path.
人类
还窝在那，
包，
听到？喷死！
有点会啊！我操！
那这么痛啊！
Enemy has been slain.
还好，至少杀到一个。
They need guidance.
波比300，
他一开始就撞到我啊，头都他姐。
不用推那个，
我说直接把他推掉呢。干卖杯，对，
我想崇拜，我想崇拜。
I have refined.
因为小心跑比，何必回了？
Every web a masterpiece.
老吃到大鸟喵了，
大鸟喵，下面不见，天门的大鸟喵。
他妈感觉蹲在草里那个是，
The spider demands
波比在这哦，那波比哦。哦，你蹦兵哦。
对。
干他妈的，他们很会走位，你很丝滑是不是？
my true beauty is beneath.
我那卡小，
完了完了，
干凌空凌空招你，挡掉。
哦，扛不住了。啊，罗宾没吃到。
算。
没呀，太早上掉了。
那个再一层呢？哦，不行。
Pull the strings. Watch them dance.
哟，偷到
妈的，这
了！
咖就想弄。
哎，小心吧！哇，
为什么啊？为什么啊？那个感觉在送啊，超惨呢！
会来了，会来了！哇，好像你有什么上面哦？
I show them the way.
龙王在送啊！操！
有点。有那种要送的感觉。
我们被偷走了。
完了。他比的海克斯科战。这是我比对。
We must all make
嗯，偷吃龙。 我吃龙。
嗯。你还比战，战什么战？
我吃龙。什么啊？这真的怪怪的啊！
你要给我撤喽？
嗯，走喽。干烂皮耶！
guidance.
你说那个阿皮吗？好皮哦，上来点。
刚刚没有买魔装啊，刚刚不够。哦，干他妈戒指屌打，好狠哦！
It will all be over soon.
瑞西鼠。
哎，像我弄一波。
对啊，我有到。
你还要哦？
嗯，
I know the true path.
哎，酒桶在这啊！操，酒桶也在啊！
Every way, a masterpiece.
那你可以吗？
干嘛这只鱼？给我回拜吧！
哦，差点。
干，差点拿不到头啊！
有 TP 哦。 推掉吗？可以推掉吗？推不掉。
哑铃来啦，我来了，没什么伤害。
My true beauty is beneath the skin.
你还在皮啊？要死！
哎，
要死！妈逼的！
妈逼的嘞！
Pull the strings, watch them dance.
吹吹，
Ally has been slain.
啊，
干，方案不够。
抽他！
啊，英雄，
走小巷子里，
直聊，刘总你要作业吗？
我走这中间呢。牛，
我叫一下。
We must honor
哦，我去中路哦。
怪怪的，怪怪的。
别想听到他们对我说，吃不胖，觉得没有错，我的物质少于不跑的。怎么搞？很好，我们先听他的。别听他的。
托比是挂机啊，你怎么样他了？
啊？
巴比啊，挂机。
你说 Bobby 啊？
对啊，
波比波比波比波，
好久没出现了。
I know what needs.
不底不是有线吗？忘记了。
那个龙兽大炸了个寂寞。
打电忘记换扫眼，操！
I am away.
这个可以吃小。
那吃龙吗？谁玩？
嗯，对，先抓这哑铃。
哇靠，这样过！
这样也可以过。杀你不用大。
I know the true path.
来了，说啊，
完了，哇！角色有点差点
啊不死！
Shut down.
那我以为我闪了，结果没闪。阿瑞斯捡到我的头了，我去！
听到。
嗨，
They need guidance.
推不掉啊。
回家了。
交给你了，说推不掉。
已经上不掉了呢，上路。哇，他自己钻内圈给他，我操！
My true beauty is beneath the skin.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
哦，波比挂机了啦，
哦，应该是
没什么意义。
AD 嘴他还是怎么样？
那个他两双怀，
他两双吧，
要不然怎么一开始躲在那边
没啊，不用光华有个
？S 第一个，嘿，
X 哥哥，
缺点，
输出3000多是怎样啊？
嘿嘿嘿嘿嘿，
哥哥，
弄侠，
还是要约怒。等一下我要上个厕所，等我一下。妈的，喝饮料啊！操！
这个东西。用怒侠来打，
怒侠，
昨天的现在开的
你别让我，像小龙女一样活，四不下不听你想说，每个眼神发现不可能在我被消不过，不真心不愿意叫我，请你把我个直觉，好直觉，不用直觉，像我的宝贝，我再有一点自己，他去密证来真的更加。
OK，
为什么有人想了解？
那你不打了是吧？
没有啊，我吃东西啊，我跟我讲。
我没听到。
没事啊，负责。
好，我看个影片了，休息一下。
看个影片。
那我打个飞飞。
那你打飞飞吧。
还是永强哥看影片是陈英文打飞飞的影片。
那个小钟啊。
小钟。
你说那个
艺人吗？
非洲那个。
说。
哦。
He's the last man standing. He's not going to be able to get this one done, even after his teleport does connect.
Another game lost by T1 in a late game Baron fight. I feel like this game should have been lost long.
小钟嘿嘿见鬼啦！
They put up a good
嘿嘿见鬼啊！那是他们一路出现。
the tournament. 45 minutes here looks like is going to be around the time this Nexus falls, but a very, very big win here for Hanwha Life Esports in a game that looked like it might. Streamers in challengers play like Graves is in like every single game. He's still very strong right now.
And it's Canyon. He has
因为叫你妈帮我修脚皮。
one of the best Graves players.
修脚皮，修杆子啊。
Duro wanted to.
Well, I'm still flank.
休息一下，拦一下，拜拜。
Because he didn't int or throw or make huge mistakes. He just didn't. He wasn't given any opportunities, and a lot of vision. Kind of have to slowly let this this turret go as the Baron expires, and Shiu is gonna miss the ult here too.
Doesn't quite find it. That's a big cooldown. So the inner turret is going to fall like you were talking about. Not a lot that DK can actually do to answer this as Lucid coming in, looking for an angle, but doesn't find the Q. So the ulti from Showmaker not really doing too much. The Fate's Call as well is going to be invested as Beryl realizes that he has to flash. And Keen getting right up close and personal with aiming and Beryl here. Now fighting against Lucid, but oh dear, he's 1 versus 4, and that's going to mean he's just straight up dead. DK, I felt like they were holding on for dear life throughout this game, and the inevitability of Gen G just hit them like a boulder in that dragon pit.
It really, really did. I mean, Keen cleaned up house, and this is just the game.
Yeah, that should be it. Shiwu just doing his very best to try and defend this turret, but your Nexus turrets are under fire. Wanted to find this flank angle if he can. Showmaker with Chains of Corruption at the ready. But look at the AoE damage. These piercing arrows really starting to hurt. About gonna have to lock down guys. Has
Really brain pressure. And I look at this and I go, but great. There's like easily 2,000. Every path is either war.
And Kemish moving up towards his top side, going to start this shove. And the money really is going to start piling in. Right now it's about a 3.5k lead. But that is only going to balloon as this Baron starts to tick.
After Showmaker left the top lane, that turret took a ton of damage. Now it's just taken out. You see Chemish does end up just freely destroying that one. He's got Duro here as kind of a bodyguard. He's going to put some pressure on this inner. Again, the control ward down next to the red buff. This ward here in this entry point. They know everywhere D+ is. They've got their eyes on every single champion, the angles they could approach from. So a push like this with the Baron is just completely safe. And if D+ try to come over and contest, they're going to die. So they just kind of have to slowly let this this turret go as the Baron expires, and Shiu is going to miss the ult here too.
Yeah, doesn't quite find it. That's a big cooldown. So the inner turret is going to fall like you were talking about. Not a lot that DK can actually do to answer this as Lucid coming in, looking for an angle, but doesn't find the Q. So the ulti from Showmaker not really doing too much. The Fate's Call as well is going to be invested as Beryl realizes that he has to flash. And Keen getting right up close and personal with aiming and Beryl here. Now fighting against Lucid, but oh dear, he's 1 versus 4, and that's going to mean he's just straight up dead. DK, I felt like they were holding on for dear life throughout this game, and the inevitability of Gen G just hit them like a boulder in that dragon pit.
It really, really did. I mean, Keen cleaned up house, and this is just the game.
Yeah, that should be it. Shiwu just doing his very best to try and defend this turret, but your Nexus turrets are under fire. Wanted to find this flank angle if he can. Showmaker with Chains of Corruption at the ready. But look at the AoE damage. These piercing arrows really starting to hurt. About gonna have to use that cleanse. But he has all the rest of his teammates here. The health bars are so large. And now the Nexus is exposed. Gen G, like a freight train, will be able to take down DK in this matchup. It was not exciting. Guys, we are going to be honest about that. There was not a lot of action throughout this game, but the jostling for position, it was an interesting game, right?
It was an LCK game, you know, basically. Yeah. It was a slow one. There was a lot of vision fights. But Gen G, after the mid-game, and this is before that big dragon fight that really broke the back there of D+, they had so much vision control, and I think Chemish, actually, even though he had a really rough laning phase and like his hands didn't look great there, his brain in terms of when he knew to back, like his timings of grabbing his Leandries, then how he laned against Showmaker, the pressure he was constantly putting on the turret, the vision that they set up was pretty insane around that top side. And I look at this and I go, man, you know, Canyon, Keen, that part, it's unchanged, right? Looks normal, looks fine. But you look at Chemish and About, I'm like, these guys seem serviceable. That's a good sign for Gen G maybe getting a massive upgrade for their Challengers roster this season. But the map moves, the macro were way better. They were able to say, you know what, I'm not going to fight that dragon. They made the right decisions. When D+ was at their strongest, they stayed away. They fought their battles when they needed to. Really smart play here from Gen G with the draft they had.
Yep, I would agree. I do think that Aurora is kind of broken. I'd like to see that champion get banned a little bit more. However, just really good play. And Keen, my God, this guy is just too good in a team fight. Like, he's just too good. It's just kind of, it feels unfair, you know? The game so incredibly slow, methodical, blah, blah, blah. And then Keen says, I'm going all out and killing 3 people. What are you going to do about it?
The biggest symptom of Gen G not having any map control is the damage number you see from Lucid there at 3,200. He's just never able to find anybody or find any flanks because every path is either warded or trap set up by Canyon. You know, Canyon has every single different way he could actually try to approach covered. And he gets that one kick, and it flashes out, and then he's like, that's all I could do, guys. Like, that's as close as it gets for me getting value this game because we have no map control whatsoever. And I can't even blame him because he didn't int or throw or make huge mistakes.
Nope.
He just didn't he wasn't given any opportunities. And
it's
that
a
number is
product
very
of the draft.
glaring. Yeah, exactly.
And when you do have, like, all of this range versus none of this range, it has to be a snowball, and you have to be able to win every all-in. Otherwise, it is very, very difficult to play out. And DK, they were unable to get any sort of snowball because nothing happened in the early stages of the game. They did try to go for some things. We saw on the bottom side of the map. Tried to go for that dive. Duro outplayed it very, very nicely. Man, it was well played by Gen G on a defensive level, as well as, you know, a Canyon masterclass of just making sure that you have full control of your jungle. The vision was exemplary, and I mean, it might be boring. It may not necessarily be what you like the most, but this is what some of the best League of Legends does look like.
It does.
There's nothing that we can do about it. Next one, going to be Humble Life Esports taking on T1.
Should be interesting.
Yeah.
I think I would give given the rosters a bit of an edge to Hanwha Life here, but T1 showed us some wacky and really fun stuff in their first game against Vietnam as well.
Yeah, didn't G-Riz play on T1 for a little while as well? Or was that? Am I losing my mind?
Thinking of Guan.
I'm thinking of Guan. Never
Yeah.
mind. Guan and Jiriz, both of them very powerful players. They
And
are
also
built
kinda Giga Chad,
stocky.
big boys.
Exactly. Yeah. So they do kind of meld. But it is now time for us to take a short break. I think we can start some of the music. We can get a little bit of a dance happening, and then we can be back for Hanwha Life Esports taking on T1. Will Hanwha be able to do it again? Will T1 be able to bounce back after their difficult loss against Vietnam? That's what we're going to have to find out. I'm going to download some more information as well from my Wikipedia page. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Kesper Cup. We are almost at the halfway point, just one more game to go, and it is a big one. Harmon Life Esports taking on T1. T1 licking their wounds after their upset loss against Vietnam. And Harmon Life Esports just feeling pretty good because they just won.
Yeah, and they look to be pretty strong.
Yeah, I'd say
Grizzly and Rooster had a pretty good performance in their last match. I mean, Rooster missed one equalizer. We were a little bit critical of that, but otherwise had a pretty good performance on the Rumble. Grizzly playing his signature Viego. And the rest of the team just looking as good as you'd expect. Zeka, Viper, Delight. Delight playing a little bit fast and loose, but it didn't ultimately matter.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he's playing with some gusto. You know, it kept things interesting. I think he was like 3/4 of their team's deaths by the end, and the death number was not very high, just for the team in general. I think it was only Viper that had fallen down because he was greeting for a plate on the bottom side, and otherwise everything was just pretty good. They took down Nongshim, though. Nongshim are certainly the team that I think are probably at the lower rung here in this group especially. Group B really is the group of death, given the teams that we have seen here so far. So just have to see whether T1 can sort of pull themselves back together. Also interesting to see who is going to be playing as well, because of course they have a lot of different options as far as who plays. I think in this game we're going to be saying goodbye to one of our world champions.
I think so. We'll get into it in a little bit. Okay, we're actually getting into it right now.
Yep.
Just letting people know right away. It's Vincenzo who's coming in over Owner, and everything else is staying the same.
Yep, we actually had information about this earlier on, so it's not like, oh, Owner didn't play well in the last game, so he's being subbed out. No, it was just always going to be a thing.
Every match's rosters are predetermined before the day.
Yes. So if you are thinking that maybe there's some shenanigans, there are not. It is just it's just what has been written on our sheets of paper in front of us. So Vincenzo going to be playing. Vincenzo's been around the block a little bit in Challenger, but hasn't had any time in the LCK or anything like that. And so interested to see how he's going to be doing here today.
Yeah, Vincenzo. So if you guys, we'll have the players up on the screen in a moment, but I'll wait till T1 comes up. I want to give you guys like a moment to do this when everyone's ready to do it, because it's very funny.
Okay.
But yeah, I think in terms of his play style, before I make this Vincenzo reference, he's a very middle-of-the-pack jungler in terms of CL players, and hasn't accomplished too much, but is very serviceable. I think he's a good replacement for some of the players that T1 have had, like Forrest in the past.
Yep.
This lineup, unchanged from what we saw earlier. It's still early in the day. You know, we talked yesterday about how as the night goes on, there's sometimes some fatigue. I say this, and then Grizzly yawns and Rooster reaches back in his chair, and I'm like, maybe they're a little tired, but it's a pretty grueling schedule for these first few days. And so far, coming off a win, feels pretty good. I don't think they're going to be feeling too rough about things here at nearly 5 p.m. Korean Standard Time.
Nope, not too worried about it. You can see Viper, Delight, and Zeka are all just kind of chilling. So maybe it's just the young guns that haven't got enough sleep. And let's have a look.
So look at Vincenzo's face. You can look at his profile picture online. Now look up Vincenzo Korean TV show. Like, open a new tab, okay? Open Google. Search Vincenzo K-drama, Vincenzo Korean TV show. Look at the main character, and then you'll know why this guy picked Vincenzo as his name. I'm actually going to open it for Atlas as well so you can see. He actually does really look like the main character of this TV show called Vincenzo.
And also, Smash looks a lot like Smash and not like Gumayushi here. So we did bring up the rosters because on our sheets it did say stuff as, yeah, you're right, Wolf. It's actually kind of ridiculous.
It's actually crazy. Somebody told me that I think it was Kevin Kim who told me that he named himself after the character from the show, but I'd never seen it before. And then I looked it up one day and I was like, oh man.
Actual real doppelganger.
It's actually him. It's just the actor from the show. He's just playing League of Legends now.
We actually saw, like, and there were clips of this on Twitter as well. It was kind of funny. Gumayushi and Owner being pretty frustrated by the looks of things at the end of the last game. And I guess both of them just didn't want to play in this one. Owner was already not going to, but now Smash is in over Guma.
Yeah, that's... I don't think it's against the rules, but again, rosters were pre-submitted that it was going to be Vincenzo and Guma, and Smash is here, so Smash is a very good player. And look, if you want to try to build something up for your CL roster and try to get them some synergy and some practice together, this is definitely the way to do it.
I would agree.
So
I just feel like I'm a liar now, because I said that we had the sheets that decided everything, and sheets don't decide anything.
I thought that it was in the rule set as well. This is actually pretty... After T1's loss to Vietnam, people are dropping.
Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe they got the info that Guma and Ona were both out, and we didn't.
I mean, it might have been on T1's Twitter, so that could have also been a thing. But yeah, like I was saying before, I thought that you had to submit your roster on the day and you couldn't change it. But I guess that was just like for our roster sheets, and it doesn't necessarily you can in fact change it. So
I think you just apply for it or something like that, and if you do it in time, then it's okay. But that's how subs generally work: is you get to use them.
No, they're cheating, Atlas. They took Guma out. No, that's cheating. They can't play Smash. That's too broken.
I actually really like Smash. I think it's this will be a fun one. Although, the opposition is the problematic part. I think if they had have tried this, if it was Humble Life Esports that they went up against first, and now they're trying against the Vietnamese team, maybe it's a little bit different. But this is going to be rough because the T1 Challenger team has been losing to Rooster and Grizzly quite a lot themselves. So,
yeah, that's true.
We are going to have the Skana and the Ambessa banned away here. So Heyte not going to be on that one again, as some Freljordian bans to come through. Aurora, I think, should just be perma-banned for the entire rest of the tournament, to be honest.
When you have a player
broken.
like Zeka on the other side, you just don't want to deal with it. So I think that's a reasonable take in general, outside of the fact that, yes, I agree with you, Aurora is incredibly strong and has a very high win rate in this tournament thus far. Final ban here, we're looking at picks like potentially the Corki, the Yone, that is ultimately taken away here. Callista also still available, and Viper could just pick that one up here. They'll take the Corki instead, and Zeka played it last time. We weren't super hyped about it. I guess they'll just keep it the same.
I kind of hope that we don't just see Ezreal immediately after this and they just do the same thing, because I do want to see some new stuff from Humble Life Esports, even though they don't have Peanut and Zeus yet. It is still, kind of fun to see some stuff like that. As Smash, thinking about going towards the Callista.
His Callista is very good. Really enjoy watching his Callista when he's playing with Reckless. In general, when he was playing with Bout as well in the past.
Yep.
Very strong. So it also means that the Callista in bottom kind of guarantees it's Zeka playing the Corki, but it may deter the Ezreal pick, right? I mean,
yeah, who
right? Because Kai'Sa wasn't enough to do it last time. Maybe he just doesn't care about the matchup, and he's just going to lock Ezreal Rumble again, because that's what we saw last time.
Could just happen. I mean, Rumble into the Cassante matchup isn't terrible.
Varus has been the most common answer, though.
Yep, this has been picked into the Callista over and over again, so would make some sense. Viper is also a very practiced Varus player, so it wouldn't make us too excited. I just want to see the Corki in the bottom lane.
Yeah,
dude. That's all I want.
It's rough into the Callista, though. I think this is the one time where you're like, probably not. Hovered the Rumble, but then hovered some other things.
Now, is it just going to be Renekton into the Cassante? That would
Poppy,
be less fun. Poppy's fun.
Yeah, pushing the Poppy up before the second ban phase so they can't protect the Callista.
Also, like, this could be top lane, this could be support, could be jungle, and it kind of fits into all of those places quite nicely.
Is it R3 Renata?
Oh, yeah, probably. Why wouldn't it be?
I don't think there's any reason why it shouldn't be.
I think
Cloud had a pretty rough performance earlier. Ooh.
This is a bit more fun than Nico. Certainly a good one.
Also, Poby's signature pick as well.
Oh, true.
I don't think he's going to play it in this case, but he certainly could, and he has played it a ton in the past. I feel like it's a pick that most people associate with him.
Also means that maybe Renata makes it through, and then they get to just pick it and give the Nico to Poby, and then there's not the Nico answer to the Renata, so it saves a ban slot. Kind of cute.
What if it's Vincenzo playing Nico?
Whoa, true.
Probably not, but let's wait and see. Zyra's taken away here. They're expecting this Poppy is not going to the jungle. Zyra support sadly not viable, so except when it's accidentally picked because KT ran out of time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then win with it.
Good old Vikla. We'll miss him forever. All right. Well, HLE, gonna have to ban something. It's gonna be the Viego away from Vincenzo. Of course, was his favorite when we were watching it back, when he was in Challenger.
Yeah. And Grizzly played it last game. Will not be playing it this time around. Maokai support, we did see. It's been a little bit more popular recently. Top lane Maokai as well.
Callista Rakan, is that what we're looking for, T1?
Could be.
Maokai ban kind of making that feel a little bit obvious.
But they still have the Poppy to flex, so they'd have to wait until R5, I think, if they want to play that. It's a little bit tough to play that into the...
Yeah, it's true. It's not exactly great into the Poppy.
Oh, and again, it's probably Cloud playing the Nico, but when Poby's on the team, you always have to wait and see.
They just smash Renata here.
I think this is, it's a really cool tactic to do so. And if they feel confident they're engaged on an immobile AD carry in the Varus, feels strong, but is just going to be Azir for Poby again. He had a fantastic performance, though, in the last game, to be fair. It was not his fault they lost.
No, he was fantastic. And this also confirms Corki Azir. So that is exhilarating, to say the least. So we're going to be
everybody's favorite.
Yep. You thought that maybe you'd seen the last of it, but you hadn't.
And it's still Rumble. Hey, tricked him by flexing a Poppy, which is super common.
Also,
now,
like, it's a great combo, though. Like, there is so much poke from HLE here. Like, you get the amount of burn from and the range from the equalizer and then piercing arrows. Cool.
Do they blitz here? Ooh. Are they so bold?
I mean, if you press Pop Blossom and then Blitzcrank hooks you, though, you get, like, a free mega ulti. So maybe they don't do that. Instead, it's going to be Poppy support.
Well,
so the Vi going to be locked in.
You just don't grab him after he's level 6.
Got it. Yeah.
But... I mean, this is quite viable as well, and the Poppy is really strong in the lane. We've talked about this a lot into the Kalista. Strong flex, so they have a lot of options, but they do take a more standard approach here. Vi and Rumble is so incredibly strong. And it is going to be, it looks like Sejuani to round this out.
Doesn't really fill me with enthusiasm for T1 here. It is a very standard draft. There is a lot of consistent damage with the Azir, which makes the Kalista and their low range feel less bad, and there's all those things that we have said about comps like this so many times. But the firepower on HLE is just really, really a lot.
It's just so simple how HLE's comp works, and they're the stronger team, in terms of veterans here between the two. I think that the pieces of T1's comp, they have 5 meta champions, and I think arguably the most meta aspect of this is the bottom 3, where you have Kalista Poppy, which is a really common bottom duo, and then you have the scaling Azir that kind of shores up some of the damage later on when the Kalista doesn't have the range to really do a whole lot later on. But when you consider the top side, this doesn't really gel with this. The Cassante doesn't frontline for anything too well. Like, you can frontline for a little bit of Azir damage. It's just very disjointed, whereas Hanwha has a clear theme. Single out somebody, drop the equalizer, drop the chains of corruption, and just blow somebody up. Corki damage is going to be insane as well. I really think Hanwha Life got the better end of this.
I think so too. I think the front line is actually kind of fine, like Sejuani Cassante, but I think you do want hyper carry and not Kalista. It doesn't fit the Kalista theme. The Azir theme certainly is there, and if Poby pops off, then my goat. That's beautiful.
I mean, he's looked really good so far today, so I hope that continues regardless of the result here.
But it has to be against Zeka. His Corki, not necessarily famous, more infamous, but in the last game, it was absolutely fine. Grizzly is on an aggressive jungler. Viper is on his Varus. And Rooster's Rumble looked absolutely fantastic in their previous game. Delight on Poppy, he can run in an int, and he's probably going to do that. Let's get into some dubstep.
Ooh, Harpoon. The action just never stops.
It doesn't, man. High octane, even from minute 0.
I think he got the Comet to connect as well.
Oh my goodness! Well, you do because it slows, so you just don't get to unless he ghosted. Imagine that.
I just don't want to get hit by a Comet. Gets you out in time necessarily either. Like it'll be close. You could probably
I think you need to precast the ghost.
Yeah.
And then I think you'd make it out. I think it'll be fine.
He's got a pretty big model. Do you think, we have a lot of Korean viewers tuning in to watch our English stream of Cascope. So, hi, guys. Do you think they think we're crazy? Like, they're like, what? The English cast, I don't know what they're saying, but every time the game starts, they're like, wow, it's dubstep time. Like,
the thing is, Wolf, I think that a lot of the Korean fans have known that we're crazy for quite some time.
Oh, that's true.
They've known that you've been crazy because you made like an entire, Twitter fan base following based on Buddha Jige, just testing all of it all over the country. So
they're like, is that the Buddha Jige guy? Yeah, that's me. I'm here.
It always is. Or maybe their mom just asked about that. Is oh dear, Cloud already taken down to 50%.
That's not what you want to see if you're Cloud.
No, but they still do retain some control of this wave state, I guess. Delight gets that heroic charge back off cooldown. You can see Hail of Blades almost back off again as well. And so far, I mean, this should be how things kind of go. The early game with a double ranged versus Poppy Varus probably should be enough to get a bit of control back. And you can see Delight and Viper going to cede some ground as level 2 is coming in.
Another comment.
Beautiful. And that's a lot of damage. So Hate going to be winning out on that one.
Yeah, interesting to see Hete against different level opposition here in this one, up against Rooster. Rooster having a pretty decent start in that earlier series against Kingen.
Yeah, I feel like Rooster is he's certainly someone to keep an eye out for as the seasons go on. He's been around the traps for quite some time, but is improving, is what it feels like to me.
He's a player like Casting, for example, who came in, you know, when Perfect was ill early on the season. People were like, who is this guy? And we're like, oh yeah, he's solid. He's not famous, you know, he's not on the Shiu level of like, this is the next coming of the best top laner of all time. But if you put him in the LCK, he would do just fine. And he's kind of proving it once again here. Proved it against Kingen already. He's just a very, very strong top laner. About as solid as it comes.
Yep, he's just pretty good. And so G-Riz going to be putting a ward down. That's going to be spotted if T1 wanted to. Didn't see any pings going down, but I think now getting the information that that's exactly where G-Riz is. Not able to spot out Vincenzo, though. So he's able to take the Southern Rift Scuttler. Topside going to be secured now by Grizzly. And so we're not really seeing too much as far as aggression. But as I say that, Vincenzo paying a visit. This is full information over to HLE.
Viper's got cleanse.
Yeah, teleport might be invested here as well, and there it is. Viper is going to cleanse, does have cleanse, but he's just still dead. Smash is going to follow suit here. That is money over to Zeka, which is certainly dangerous.
Yeah, I guess the cleanse is going to be too helpful against the knockup of the Arctic Assault, so he just isn't able to utilize it there, and that's the initiation that they do opt in for. But that's massive. I mean, it's the exact target that they were looking for in the 80 carry. Remove him from the bottom lane. Delight's playing bodyguard. They have vision of Vincenzo. You could see Delight's like, ooh, this is tricky. Got to deal with the Nico roots, but also Vincenzo's coming in. And he sets up the steadfast presence, but he's still just cut off. Cannot actually block Vincenzo from getting that Arctic Assault. They're hoping that the Zeka teleport is going to be able to save this, but it's just a little bit too late. He still gets a kill, and that's significant here, but knocking Viper off the board puts him down 13 CS here. And you can see that wave catching, that Smash is currently catching, means it's going to even snowball further.
Yeah. The problem there was the Steadfast Presence wasn't actually able to make it work, as speaking of not working, that Hail of Arrows was interesting. Still Viper able to get most of them.
I don't associate Viper with the Varus pick as much as I think other people do, but that's kind of recency bias.
Yeah. I mean, he's been not necessarily known for it, but he just kind of plays everything, as we know.
His lethality Varus in the past has been pretty good.
Yeah.
He went Halo Blades here, so that's the expectation once again.
He was the guy that won in the late game at the World Championship on lethality Varus when he was on EDG.
Yeah, it was the game that made me very sad at the time, because I was like, I love Viper, but LCK's got to win this.
Yeah, please. It'd be nice if that was against Gen G, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure, unless that was the DK one.
I think it was Gen G. The game I'm thinking of.
Because I feel like that was the most heartbreaking. EDG versus DK was like, that was hype, that was fun, but like Gen G, I think like it was B2D's like best international performance of his career, and they couldn't get over the line in Game 5, and that was sad. But still, we're digressing, you know, that was a few years ago now. Let's have a look at what's going to happen here. Is Delight waiting in the Tri-Brush. Cloud going to be able to throw the Shape Splitter on in there. And there are some grubs up, but no one's there. If grubs spawn in the river, can anyone hear them make a sound, Wolf? Do they make a sound?
I mean, if no one's camera is on them and they're like, if you don't have your cam focus there and you're out of the threshold for sound, I don't think you'll hear the sound of the animation of it like come out of the water, you know?
So I guess,
it kind of like, no, not really.
Yeah, fair enough. At least they save the bandwidth, you know?
Yeah.
Don't have to send that one in, as Grizzly is going to be able to move on over there. He'll be able to secure this. So Drake for grubs. We've seen this trade almost every single game today. That is going to continue to be a thing. Next dragon going to be an ocean. Does mean that the value of the next few dragons is going to be pretty high, potentially, unless we just get a Chemtech.
Could be, but I think chances are good.
I just sneezed, sorry.
That's okay. It happens, bless you.
That's
what Americans say, so I just had to do it. It's a requirement.
We say it too. I actually can't not say bless you if someone sneezes.
Oh, okay, so Australians do that as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's a requirement to keep your U.S. passport, so I had to, you know.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you still have it. Vincenzo, I don't think he's going to be able to take this, or he's just going to die. There is the cease and desist. Grizzly gets over the other side, and 1-2 punch, and Rooster picks up the kill. That is going to be a second one here for HLE.
That was a really cool play, though. Just, you know, not relying on, but punishing the fact that Vincenzo is looking for this red buff, waiting until the last possible second, going in for the kill there, having enough control of the top side to actually set that up. Lost control ultimately here, but he will be able to catch the wave under turret.
Yep.
And doesn't even need Equalizer to clear this one out. He's going to be totally fine. He's going to do a little dance move here to make sure he can get most of these minions.
Yep.
It's all of them.
Heyte was farming very well, but as you can see, this wave being picked up by Rooster will be able to get him back there. Still going to be that inevitability situation that we talk about all the time with Cassante. I don't know whether Heyte can really be the Keen factor, like we saw in Genji's match against DK, where Keen basically just decided to win.
As long as you just continue to farm, you're going to be relevant in the late game team fight if your team is ready to fight, right? And this is a Kalista composition that, you know, the Kalista isn't accelerated, I wouldn't say, but the Varus is put significantly far behind. Going lethality into the Cassante, I feel like Heyte is feeling pretty good about his position right now because he will be able to start to leverage some of that armor later on. Because right now, obviously, he's building MR because he's landing into a Rumble, but later on that will start to balance out as he gets some additional items. The question is, like, is this soul a mountain soul, for example? That could be another issue that this Varus that's significantly behind here for Viper is going to have to deal with. That would be very frustrating. The chances are slim, but it is something that could happen here. And I don't want to say that, like, Hanwha Life is so far behind on this Varus that, like, oh, cool, the Kalista comp is working. But I think T1 still need to fish for a little bit more. I think they need to find a little bit more success here on the map. And losing Vincenzo there on the red buff really put them back an additional step.
I would agree. I do think that HLE, like, the best times yet to come. They want to hit those 2-item spikes on Corky Varus and then, you know, get things played around Rooster and these wombo combos they can utilize. But I think as far as this early game, it's going pretty well for T1.
Yeah.
And Poby moving more and more towards getting these couple of items for himself as well. Smash wanting to be a little bit more relevant as G-Riz is in position and they don't seem to know. As, all right, there's the Vault Breaker, finds the cease and desist. Chains of Corruption are going to connect, and unfortunately you cannot cleanse death.
No. Certainly cannot.
We mentioned Wombo combo. Do you think that's an example?
Fairly decent combo, yeah. He also can't barrier death in this case either, but he tried to.
Oh yeah, sorry, not cleanse.
No, it's okay.
I know that I just saw a thing happen.
Yeah.
I saw a thing happen.
It's like earlier with the cleanse, so we're like, maybe he can cleanse this. Oh, it's a knock-up. Oh, maybe he can. Oh, no, it's a barrier in this case. But, you know, these 80 carries, their summoner spells aren't getting them out of dodge in this game so far.
At least Viper didn't have to use his at all because he knew that it was just straight up useless.
It's just not going to actually be a thing. The barrier wasn't going to save him there, but sometimes it's just a gut reaction when you're under fire like that. Oh, maybe the barrier buys me that one extra moment of safety to then I get into the turret and I survive, but sadly not in this case. Cloud didn't use his Pop Blossom. I don't know if he had it actually, but I think he did there, but he just wasn't close enough to actually help out. Either way, this really puts Viper back on the map a little bit because he's got that kill under his belt. Still significantly behind in farm, but keeping him relevant. So really nice proactive play here. That's 2 in a row here for Hanwha Life to put themselves into a gold lead.
Yeah.
Both plays around the top side.
Feeling pretty good about it. And, I mean, you're so much lower econ as well when you are this this lethality Varus. You don't really need to worry too much. Like, he's down significantly, but... Well, Zekrom is going to make it less significant, I guess, as Pop Blossom's still going to be able to find Zekrom after the flash. The punish is gorgeous! Poby comes in, and the Sand Soldiers take down the small pilot. Man, that was really well played by T1, answering gorgeously.
Yeah, you really got to consider that Poby also has teleport in this situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, never change on Corky Zeka, but
Yeah.
Delight's coming in here. He wants to try to make something happen. Maybe a bit of a snowball, but this is risky.
Yeah, Chains of Corruption come in. Viper's still going to be able to find the piercing arrow damage onto Vincenzo, but he's pretty tanky, so it's not really going to be a thing. As all right, Keeper's Verdict comes down. The Equalizer, gorgeous position this time from the Rooster. Cock-a-doodle-doo indeed. Going to be able to take down the Piggy. And yeah, there are still grubs to be taken here as well, and there is no jungler on the map.
There certainly is not, and I mean, if you look at the grub situation here, Hanwha Life already have 3 of them. They're going to contest anyways here with Hete making his way up, didn't teleport, but actually just joined into the fight. Very beefy here. Zeka also respawn.
Oh god, this fight just never stops. All right, we should be able to dash our way out. Hete going to be able to move back towards his mid lane. Should mean that these grubs do now start getting taken, but now Vincenzo's back on the map. Is it going to be 4? Zeka going to be out of Valkyrie away, but it means that he's not there to defend the rest of the team. Rooster moving down, and that is 4 grubs secured here by HLE. Looks like that is all they want to take. Man, that was a lot of scrapping.
Certainly was. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, Hanwha gets 4 out of the 6 total. But it's really just the impact that Rooster made there that is the real game changer, because Zeka made a bit of a whoopsie, went a little bit too far in, and burned his teleport, gets punished by Poby, but then they stick around too long there. And you could see T1 respected it initially. When the light showed up, they were like, I don't like this, something about this doesn't seem right, but then they continued to try to hold on to the aggression and ended up getting caught and punished. So you're looking at the gold now, still even, but Hanwha Life scaling aspects of this composition, how simple it is, again, to execute, is what I'm most concerned about, because I think T1 does have the Poby element here, and he's very strong right now, already has his Nashor's Tooth, did pick up that kill earlier, that punish onto Zeka, but that alone isn't enough to get you out of the mid-game.
Yeah. What can get them out, though, is not a face check from Delight. That would be a little bit of a tough one. Blooming Burst goes down. That's a great ulti. Pop Blossom right on the edge, and Delight is very dead.
Well, maybe a face check from Delight may be just what they needed to get out of the mid-game, you know?
Yeah, apparently that's it. What I was talking about was more the HLE side. But this is definitely good on the T1 side of things.
It's a T1 plus. It's definitely, you know, it's this, I think, is not enough to get them out of the mid-game, but you know what? It's one step in the right direction. But yeah, I know you were saying something different, but the irony was there in what did transpire. Ooh,
that was close.
That's not a Guma shot there, but it felt like it was with how close it was. And Delight just trying to clear this ward. Not necessarily a face check per se, but he is sticking around greeting to get the last hit on that ward, and it will cost him his life, and we'll give 300 gold over to Smash.
Smash actually feeling very good. 25 CS up, and now has that kill under his belt. Flash almost back off cooldown, and there's the Blade of the Ruin King. So right as we were saying it, able to finish that one off. So HLE, I think, going to have to start upgrading their performance right now, as a Rift Herald might be able to help. Breaking open some turrets.
They have a lot of damage for this with the Rumble, but you know, I think the real key here is they just have enough space for the back timings here for T1 after that pick. They do get away with this. I think if T1 were able to show up for this fight with the spikes they're hitting, you know, they have the Rooker, and they have Nashor's has been done for a while, the Blade of the Ruin King you just mentioned, and the Locket that Vincenzo has coming back online here. Like, that would have been a fight T1 absolutely could have taken, but timing is good, and because they have this high damage Rumble, who's also pretty accelerated, just enough time to get away with taking this one down. The question is, where do they drop it? Because they got that and they got away, but they really don't have a ton of control over the map right now.
Yeah, and things just really kind of balancing back out again.
It's a good game. I mean, it's really back and forth.
Delight takes a little bit of poke, but otherwise not too much to worry about. So I guess the next thing that we need to talk about is where we're going to see the next fight, where we're going to see this game decided. And I don't know whether Chemtech Soul is really going to, you know, force teams to go all in.
It's really good for Kalista. And
that is true.
It's pretty good for Cassante as well. But at the end of the day, like you said, it's not the game-breaking, you know, Soul. Like Chemtech Soul is one of those things that gives you some slight advantages. The map change is one of the big ones for it. But if it's Hextech Soul, it's like, well, it's good for every comp. You know, that's super broken. Like, this is a big problem. This is not one of those dragons.
I'd have to say, like, it does work very well on Vi with the way her passive works, getting shields and stuff like that over and over again. Rooster as well as building Riftmaker.
I think that the Soul, like the extra resistances and damage, are incredibly good for Kalista because she often goes very low on health, but then like gets that big rend and survives to get a few more of those spears in. And then Cassante, obviously self-explanatory there with how it's going to work out for him in those fights where he's already so beefy. I think
and
the
the
next
all-out,
fight might just be kind of around a Rift Herald drop here, as maybe they're going to look for a pick before T1, or rather before Hanwha can get the jump on that.
Well, you can see a bit of owie there as Cloud takes a lot of damage from the Phosphorus Bomb. Zeka demonstrating that he does indeed have his Trinity Force completed. Tia stacking up as well, but Miraman not done just yet.
Yeah, you got that coal cashed out, so he's stacked up quite a bit of gold as Viper is in trouble.
Vincenzo going to be able to get that cleanse out as now Grizzly just dives on top of Smash. The AoE is massive, but so is the Pop Blossom. Just not enough to save the AD carry. Fate's Call throws Cloud to the wind, and Smash, unfortunately, just at the mercy of Grizzly this game.
Yeah, and the damage from Viper on the follow-up there is just insane. I mean, they didn't even have the equalizer to drop on this one this time. Imagine if you have that opportunity, you have that ult, and then you have the equalizer plus Viper's damage just soaring through. He's got the Ghost Blade here. He is stacking his tier up just as quickly as Zeka is, even a little bit faster. And the 2-item spikes here for Hanwha for both of these AD carries are going to be really, really big. We'll watch this one more time. I can respect the idea here because Viper is way out in no man's land. They didn't have vision there, but Delight's heading over. And Grizzly sees Delight's here, and he's like, okay, we have enough damage.
And Viper hit the fadeaway Chains of Corruption. That's why Smash was just a sitting duck, then immediately hit by Vault Breaker, Ultimate. Nothing he could do at all.
Keeper's Verdict knocking them up as well on top of everything. It was just a really clean fight. And if you watch, if you like froze the frame, like if you did a little freeze frame right when the catch happened on the Viper and you took a screenshot, I think a lot of people go, "Ooh, this is not good for Hanwha. They should just bail and let him die." But they were so confident they actually had the tools to win that. That Delight was like, no, we go in on this, and it was absolutely the right call. Grizzly goes in first, and it was pretty nice turnaround, to be honest. It looked rough, and then it looked great.
Really well played. Can the Pogo turn it around? That's what I'm focusing on here. Next fight going to be in 25 seconds, I would imagine. T1 looking for that soul point. HLE looking to stack up a whole bunch of Chemtech.
I think for T1, you know your comp is losing its power rapidly, so you gotta fight.
Chains of Corruption. Cloud, unfortunately, the Pop Blossom comes through, but I don't know whether he's able to create enough space, and he can't. The Piercing Arrow is really starting to hurt. There is just so much that can be thrown at you if you get picked.
Yeah, that's the turret going down here as well.
Oh, this is a big swing.
It really is. For T1, you have to fight this. You cannot just give up this dragon and give some free time to Hanwha Life. You really wanted to get a big win in the team fight there, maybe get Poby a little bit more accelerated, utilize this Kalista before those Murmanas are done, but unfortunately they just got cut apart. Like they weren't set up. Poby is still in the bottom lane. Vincenzo, this is bold.
It is. He is going to be in range for a smite fight here as Hate going to find that Q. Grizzly deciding that Vincenzo needs to leave the area. There's the Glacial Prison coming down. Equalizer, great position. It is the G-Riz that's able to take down the Drake. But can they win the fight is the question. Hate getting aggressive. The Mega Cone going to be interrupted there very nicely with that Q. But T1 not able to actually step up with their top laner. And so they'll just have to watch that dragon go down and look to fight another day.
You could just see how, like the same things I was saying moments before about T1 really wanted to fight. Like they didn't have all the tools. They weren't in position, and they were late, and they still tried to do it. It's like showing up after like the office. You got to do some bureaucratic stuff. You're like, showed up, it's closed, and then they're like, okay, fine, come in. You come in, and they're like, oh, you didn't bring the right document. I'm sorry. Like,
yeah,
like, but I really need this. It's like, well, you weren't ready. You were late. You didn't have the proper tools. You were never going to win that fight. But you could see how priced in they are. They're like, oh, our comp is losing steam fast. We have to fight. We have to find something. But Hanwha Life just didn't give them any ins there. And now I'm really feeling like, not that this game is done 100%, but it's going to take a miracle for T1. Some crazy engage, some really nice Poby engagement, or maybe Vincenzo catching the right target, maybe shutting Viper down, shutting down this Rumble, injecting some gold into the right places, because it's just so hard now that Viper is sitting on 2 items. His tier is still stacking, but he's got so much money. He picked up the Edge of Night. Very
It doesn't feel bad. I don't know whether it's like doomed yet. Like, it's not like the money isn't out of control. It's one dragon and it's Chemtech. Like, it's not like end of the world, but you're right that the tempo is now just well and truly shifted back towards HLE. And we've seen this happen so many times, that if this team gets into a position where everything's just a little bit in their favor, they can snowball very, very consistently.
You know, they made that change, not to completely change topics, to the Raptors, where like if the main one dies, like the other ones just like die later.
Yep. The no denying.
I thought they kind of just faded out. Maybe they changed that on one of these patches, but apparently they do the whole death animation and scream and everything. That was kind of violent.
I think they've always done that. We've just never really been watching.
Yeah, maybe so.
All right, Viper's Edge of Night shield is now down.
It just felt so sad. I'm like, let them die to Smash at least. Like, don't just like kill them for no reason. Like, if they just disappear, like, oh, they made it to a good home.
Right, let's see whether Poby can make this one happen. Just pushes Zeka over the wall. Does flash the rocket there, as we can see. Glacial Prison now finding Delight on the other side, but Delight very happy to tank and engage. Does have that Hex Flash, of course, so happy to have that one unlocked as Zeka walks away with his tail between his legs. Okay, I don't think HLA won that.
No, Poby's going to get a turret.
Yeah.
So that looked very tricky. Poby sold the idea really well. He's like, oh, I'm going back in. Oh, wait, no, I'm too scared. Actually, my team is here, and now you guys are out of position. You can't take Baron or anything like that. We've got that fully locked down, and I got a free turret. The gold where it needs to be, too, onto that Azir. Like you said, it's not donezo. It's not completely over, but it is looking rough. But small wins like this, I'll need a few more of them, could put T1 back in.
That's what you need. As now, that's a Vault Breaker.
He's
Grizzly, yeah, okay. There's a cease and desist. Grizzly not really getting too much done here. Gets his shield back as the Vault Breaker does come on in, but he is really dead. Poby going to pick up that kill, and HLE starting to fall apart a bit at the seams. Unfortunately, the G-Riz, I think, getting a rush of blood to the head, as now Zeka going to take his turn to do the same thing.
Vincenzo's ult's a few seconds away. Same with Poby after that last exchange. Zeka knows that. He's got a few more seconds, but in a lot of danger if he actually had it up, and he does now. So keep an eye on Vincenzo, who's just waiting for Zeka to pop out of that brush so they can follow up. They're not doing Baron, they're threatening it.
Yeah, and Delight now poking his head forward. We know that Vincenzo waiting in that brush. It is dangerous. They will be able to take down this ward, though. Delight safely gets it in there. This Baron could always be getting started. And HLE will move on over. They discover that it isn't. But still,
Hanwha is showing a lot of restraint there. You know, not having the vision, not walking forward, waiting for Delight to arrive and letting him be the first one to come through. And that was exactly what they needed to do. Poby, after grabbing that turret, remember, he didn't have to buy Zhonya's because he didn't have to arm guard at any point, so he just gets to skip that heavy cost and go straight into death cap. He is very strong at the moment. And into this comp, you actually also get to skip Leandries. You just really don't need that because there's not a whole lot of health stacking. You have the Poppy, but it's a support Poppy at level 9, so you're not all that worried.
Yeah, I really like Poby's build, actually. Just going the full damage. Saying that he wants to take him down because, of course, no one's going to be building a heck of a lot of magic resist either.
Yeah.
And so just raw AP feels pretty good. Makes you a bit tankier there as well with the Shifting Sands shield.
Poby's been having a really good set of his year games.
Yeah.
I feel like he has been arguably the most consistent performer here across T1, and that's including when Guma and Owner were playing.
I would agree. I think that the Pogoat, he's named that for a reason. That's right. Chemtech, Soul Point. Here for T1, up and available. G-Riz moving on over. They do know what's going on here. Control Ward in the pit. There's now Poppy and Ate a little bit late to the party, perhaps. Grizzly getting into the pit relatively early, but Zeka is going to be here as well. Hex Flash over from Delight. Actually deciding not to as he gets into the pit. The rest of T1, a little bit undecided as to what to do, and Rooster is on a ward, wanting to get that equalizer down to start this fight off. As you can see, the poke is raining down. There's the hammer, doesn't find anyone here as Chains of Corruption. They come in, equalizer down onto Vincenzo, who takes down the dragon and now wants to just get out of there unless they can win the fight. There goes Cloud. Grizzly not able to lock anyone down. Their health bars are still so incredibly low, but T1, they found the first kill. Cloud throws his life away, though.
But they should be able to get out of here without losing anyone else. And with no vision here, okay, they have to drop a trinket, but they still have this control ward. This is tough for Hanwha to collapse on.
There is so much poke, though, so if T1 just stay here without really knowing what to do, they will just kind of slowly burn down.
I feel like T1 played this, like, literally perfectly. I feel like they couldn't have played that fight better. And now they're in a position to actually take this turret. Such patience. They were like, the only way we win this fight is we get to actually defensively engage on them. And that's exactly what they did. They were able to secure the dragon there as well. Get up. Vincenzo didn't have to flash. They don't get the full turret here, but it's just a 4v4 K-Ram here. They actually will all walk out with their lives. They got Soul Point. Ideally, they would have liked to win a fight and get multiple kills on Poby, but They didn't have to really burn any summers. Look at the patience here. They're sitting going, okay, once Hanwha comes in, we can actually do something. We're outranged by them, but let's sit on Dragon, burn it as quickly as we can. Positioning is super good. Delight's ult missing is so huge here because things would look so differently. Then Vincenzo gets it, and then they get out. Steadfast Presence also doesn't connect here as Vincenzo tries to go out. Then Poby goes, or not Poby, rather the support player goes in here to try to actually look for a pick and maybe turn this around, but it helps secure the retreat as well. And Hanwha Life they were spread so thin to make sure that T1 couldn't collapse in and look for that big mega engage with Cloud, but it meant that they also couldn't actually close the gap and pick anybody off because everyone's so tanky. You got that Cassante, you have that Sejuani. I mean, I think Delight was really hoping he was going to be the one to break that open, but just barely not able to connect with that Keeper's Verdict.
Yeah, the Keeper's Verdict is so incredibly important. If Hater gets in there, he can run amok if he doesn't have to worry about just being evicted from the area. As Delight still pretty capable of getting around and warding things up. So keeping themselves with a bit of vision, but you can see getting cleared out now. That ward in the Baron Pit going to be the big one.
This is just a really impressive game from T1. Like, obviously, they're massive underdogs on this one.
I feel like they've tightened up the gameplay as well from their last match.
It's like they really know that they're on the back foot, but it's still very winnable.
Well, let's see how they do here in this next battle as Rooster was looking. He had an itchy trigger finger for that equalizer. I could feel it. T1 going to back away.
A lot of times with the Challengers squad that T1 have here, you would just go, all right, Hail Mary only. We better just try to do something crazy. But they're being so patient, so cautious in this game, showing so much restraint. That's rare to see from a Challengers team in a game state like this. I mean, they're not massively behind, but they are significantly behind. And they just keep being patient. They keep playing around Vision.
Yeah, that's going to be the Glacial Prison. Delight, though, so tanky on this Poppy. Just eats the engage. Still, not a lot of damage going back. Vincenzo going to be able to get that health bar back up relatively soon as Viper slowed down. Vincenzo not going to be able to engage anytime soon. There's the cease and desist onto Poby. He's down so incredibly low. The Pop Blossom to try and keep them alive, but it doesn't work. Cloud just goes down, smash the next one, and Vincenzo will be cut down where he stands. Hanwha Life Esports not going to be bested in 2 team fights in a row, and the G-Riz just smites his opposition and heads over to the Baron.
And I think that might actually finally be what puts the last nail in the coffin here. T1 were so patient. They were so careful. They were playing around Vision. They were looking for picks. But ultimately, in that last fight, it's really just Viper's damage that's layering, putting a clock on them, constantly hitting that poke. And then Grizzly comes in, and you have the layering of that damage. Viper's damage, Rooster's damage coming through. And Poby, look at this. He has the Zonias here, or the arm guard, so he can buy some time. Flashes perfectly, so he can actually buy some more space. Gets his ult off here. He has the Sundist turret, but the damage is just too much here with the equalizer coming down. And then once Viper has this free reign, once the front line is gone, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, Cassante and Vincenzo are still alive, but the carries are dead.
Yeah, and just not a whole lot the T1 could do there. Beautifully orchestrated, though, by HLE. I feel like Grizzly had been a little bit rushed in his engages, sort of like, you know, the fight beforehand. He died before he even got to his target. This time around, though, they knew exactly who they wanted to kill. They got the equalizer down on top of the Zonias as well, and so arm guard or no, like, you're still dead because he'd taken so much damage, and then everything's on fire. And 3 items now for Rooster as well, who's very quietly just been
Look at Viper's
kind
damage.
of smashing. And yeah, this is really skewing how the numbers look because he's already done 24K.
He's really just layering this poke so incredibly well. This is what, you know, we talked about. We don't associate Viper necessarily with Varus. I do with Lethality Varus because he's just so accurate. You look at his Ezreal and how he plays a neutral game.
Oh, yeah.
He just constantly layers that damage. And look at it.
Yeah, he is the Lethality Varus guy. Really able to make that one happen is, yeah, I agree with the Observer. I think that Cloud may have just died there if that piercing arrow had have connected. You never know whether it's W activated or not. As Rooster ushers another minion wave towards this inner turret. And with this Drake being up, I think the Grizzly going to be able to take that one down without having to risk a soul point or anything like that. A soul going over to T1.
With the numbers here and the control of the map with the Baron for Hanwha Life, like, the reason why I say that was the final nail in the coffin and why I don't think T1 can come back anymore, because before we were like, it looks kind of doomed, but it's not fully doomed. Now I think it's fully doomed because there's no surprise anymore. And before, there was a neutral game where T1 could sit in Vision, have that Vision control, have the wards, and then just simply be able to turn on fights and push into Hanwha when they actually look for the engage. And now it's just like you can't get close to Viper. You can't ever get close to him, and he's just going to constantly do so much damage that really only Hete can sit through, as you can see here. But if he hits anybody else, including Vincenzo, I mean, it's really starting to hurt. And the neutral games just become so unplayable because you don't have range. You don't have any returning poke. And if you get vision back somehow, if you can win a miracle team fight, then get vision, then get on an objective, then maybe. But that's a lot of ifs, and that's too many ifs for me.
I would agree. And I also think that like the amount of wave clear that HLE has, any sort of attempt in the neutral, you're just going to get poked out. There is a critical mass. And you're right. I think HLE have kind of found it. Miracles can happen. Poby could just scoop up Viper and maybe just win the game. They do have a lot of damage to structures if they do manage to make that one happen. There is 3 items now on Smash. Does have Terminus now completed, but oh, it feels like a bridge too far. You're absolutely right. 3.5 minutes now on the next Dragon, so that one's not really going to be the next port of call. The Baron going to be up in close to 3 minutes as well. And actually, they don't need to rush. They know that any sort of fight where, oh, even Grizzly taking away some Merc Wolves, any fight where you just get to sort of meet each other, HLE has the ability to shoot you and you can't shoot them back.
Yeah. So as long as Hanwha don't overextend, they don't step too far forward, they win. Also, they win if they just press R on Grizzly and drop an equalizer.
Yeah, and then Chains of Corruption. But that one, non-committal, so that's going to buy T1 a little bit of time. That's not. Good God. That's, okay. 50% of Cloud's health bar.
It's just like they poke, but they also all in. Like they engage on you hard and destroy someone. And while you're thinking about how to deal with that, Viper's just like, I'm not waiting. I'm taking your health away. It's disappearing. The bars are going down.
He doesn't even quite have his armor penetration.
No, yeah, he's like, now he does.
Yeah, okay.
But
so
he didn't have it
is
before.
done.
Yeah, now we were like, oh yeah, he kind of goes through Vincenzo. He's getting close to going through Cassante as well, considering he's only got that Rookern, or he went the Rookern first. He's sitting on some more MR. He's not fully armor Cassante like in a lot of other compositions you would be, because he had the lane against the Rumble. But he can start really chipping away at Hete as well.
Starting to get some of the damage down. You can see Zeka level 18 now as well on this Cork. He hasn't really been the main character. He's got 4 items though, and these big ones are really starting to hurt. So we're talking about Viper all the time because it's his piercing arrows that we're really watching, but Zeka gets amongst it. He will just kill people. Great sidestep there from Rooster. They'll be able to take down this inner turret. Heroic charge going to connect. Hete not too worried about it. And Poby is splitting, trying to get something. 700 gold going into his pocket there. Local gold from the turret helping out.
I honestly almost feel like with everyone backing out of this lane, maybe he should have just pushed even further, try to get half of that inhibitor turret.
I think as soon as there was some players heading into Fog of War, that was going to be dangerous.
Yeah, it could have been dangerous. Like, Zeka could have TP'd on him, Rooster could have TP'd behind him, but at this point, you're so far behind.
Yeah, true.
And now he's back and clearing a wave, but Grizzly may be a bit staggered here.
Well, it is going to be a rain of arrows that does just mean that they do back away.
Viper's damage is just peel now also.
Yeah. Oh, no.
I don't want to be anywhere near that far, so I'm just going to let him go.
He's going to be able to catch this wave quite nicely. The Baron's going to be up in a sec, and T1 are in a really good position for it. So that is certainly impressive. Maybe a little bit late on the reset timing here, as the Baron is now going to pop back up. Grizzly moving on over. Chains of Corruption going to connect onto Hete. He eats the CC quite nicely. Doesn't find his Q, though, as Delight just trying to be frustrating. And it's working out as there's the Pop Blossom onto 2. Viper gets out of position, but you can see Rooster just eats it. And the Glacial Prison does absolutely nothing. Gorgeous use of that stopwatch. And now Cloud's going to go down. Equalizer just to secure it. Zeka now just fighting them over the wall. Flashes on in because he just wants to end the game here. T1 actually finding a lot, though, as Poby gets on top of him. Goes golden as well. Smash off to the side, and it's Viper that has to take matters into his own hands.
Fantastic Zonius from Rooster at the early part of the fight. He lives super long there, and it looks like maybe T1 don't really have a chance, but Smash's damage is somewhat relevant in this fight, but it's really Poby who actually stops this Baron from going over. And, I mean, you can see the beginning of this fight, beautiful from the side of Rooster here. Cloud goes in, and then boom, ignores the Great Glacial Prison. They get the jungler out here, but it's Grizzly who's once again isolated. Look at Poby. He's like, ooh, this isn't really a safe situation for me. I'm going to actually have to take the wraparound around the Baron pit. And because Grizzly's on the other side of the pit here, kind of isolated, Rooster has to come in and try to look for the secure. He does go down because now he doesn't have that Zhonya's anymore, and Zeka just isn't going to be able to compete with that Azir damage. Great Emperor's Divide here. Viper's still sitting on his Edge of Night untouched, but he alone isn't going to be able to do the Baron. And
he does get the dragon.
He does get the dragon. It does that much damage.
But you're exactly right. I think Zeka flashing over to try and kill Smash there was a weird decision to make.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't the most optimal play.
And they're 8,000 gold ahead. It does make sense that you've got a little bit of a rush of blood situation there, but that's it's not quite what I was expecting. It's okay. Baron just getting melted.
I mean, Poby's
going down so fast. Grizzly not going to be able to get in there, and yeah, okay. HLE just caught napping.
Yeah, I mean, even if Delight actually finishes channeling that ult there, it's like, cool, we're trying to go home anyways.
Yeah.
So, I mean, their setup is so good if they can clump up on a Baron like this with Poby's ult, with Vincenzo being able to turn, really strong, tanky Cassante.
Oh dear, maybe they overstayed though, as there is a cease and desist. Smash in a bit of trouble here. Glacial Prison going to buy a little bit of space, but Smash is actually fine. He's so deceptively tanky on this Kalista right now. Oh god, okay, never mind. No one's tanky if Viper is there. That is a lot of damage onto Vincenzo. The poke is raining down, and even though the engage happens, it's what happens after the engage. This is the problem. It's when you're trying to reposition, the Viper is going to kill you.
I mean, Viper is just 1v9ing. He's like, oh, my team can't kill anybody, but I can. He's like, I've got the snipe over the wall. I'm going to hit Poby. I'm going to win this fight. And, you know, in a weird way, like we talked about how T1's comp falls off because of the Kalista in some ways, but the Azir is great late. The Varus falls off if it's hitting tanks only at the front line, because it still does damage, but it takes a really long time. But when you're over the wall here, hitting Chains of Corruption into massive Q damage on the Poby, it's just like, well, I mean, he's not falling off when he's hitting squishies, and then the rest of the team can follow up because the front line is stuck in no man's land. Poby can't help heal for them, can't offer any damage back. So that burn damage coming through from the Rumble, the Leandri's on top of it is really going to be quite painful.
It's almost doubled his damage since we checked in last.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So this is a long game, though. This is getting towards one of our longest of the day.
I think it's maybe the longest of the tournament already, right?
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
We're almost going to hit 40 minutes. I don't think we hit that yet.
We had a lot of faster ones, right? Like, so like 28 minutes, 27 minutes, things like this for a lot of our games. This one's certainly going the distance. We haven't even hit a soul yet. 2.5 minutes until Chemtech Soul available for both teams. This outer turret that's been alive for so long is finally going to die. And
still have the Baron buff.
Looking for maybe another one. Exactly right. Grizzly wanting to find an angle. That equalizer, great position there. Even though it's not doing enough damage to the minions, will stop that siege from T1 from happening. Oh god, that piercing arrow. What was that? That was like all of Smash's health bar. What?
Yeah, it's just crazy how much damage he does. The Sundis turret will allow them to retreat. They won't be able to get anything more than this. But they buy time for one more team fight here. I mean, I think this next fight is probably, at this stage, 40 minutes in, the game-deciding fight. For the side of T1, if they win it, they need to win it, you know, convincingly enough, because they have to go through both the Nexus turrets as well as, like, the inner turret before they even get to the inhib. But I think that if they win a convincing fight, it's definitely their game to end at this stage. Yeah. So this next dragon, we talked about how great it is for specifically the Kalista, but I don't know if that's...
Whoa. Wow. That's a big one.
This game is not really about the Kalista like living through and doing that extra damage. It's really just about how much damage Poby gets to layer and whether Viper hits his shots. If he has an angle, he hits them though. And if he can hit Poby before the fight starts off, it's going to be great for them. And considering how much control HLE already have over this Dragon Pit, it's not looking good for T1. And Poby doesn't have teleport, so he's not going to be able to try to split push or get a side lane going before this one goes up to pull T1 around the map. So I'm feeling very pessimistic about T1's chances here, but they are going to come over and start contesting. There's still 55 seconds to go. Yep. Cloud trying to get this vision cleared up. If they can get this vision cleared, then get Banana Bush control. Maybe a Nico ult buys enough space for Poby to get in there. I mean, I've been doubting them for the last 20 minutes, to be honest, Atlas, and like they keep proving me wrong.
We'll see whether they can do it again. So much comes down to the Pogoat. Can he make it happen? Or will Viper just kill them all? That's the question. Even Hail of Arrows is like kind of just killing them. As Poby, he gets caught! Does manage to get into his Zhonya's, but is that actually going to keep them alive? As now Grizzly trying to find the stragglers. Viper now moving back in. That is a lot of damage from these piercing arrows, but that cooldown is a big one. Now Hate trying to get in. The Pop Blossom not finding anything. Is now Delight keeps him in position. The Equalizer not really doing too much. Is into the backline. Goes the buy. Hate blows up in the end. The Rockets are connecting. The poke too much, and T1, they will scatter, losing their tank. Not too much more though.
Yeah,
so the game will continue.
It's not really a team fight win to end the game. It's just killing Hete, which means T1 can't fight anymore. Vincenzo fighting for this scuttle.
Unfortunately, Zekka is going to find some melee range with the Sejuani, and he will go down. So that's a little bit unfortunate. That means that this is guaranteed soul going over to HLE.
Yeah.
Minutes time, they will have almost guaranteed position on Baron as well.
I actually think the initial part of this fight, I felt like this is all worth for T1. Like the Zhonya's here to block the damage from Viper, and then getting the Chains of Corruption out means that maybe you could actually back up and push towards the Dragon, but their eye is too big for the stomach. You're trying to actually get in and maybe catch Zekka, but he's just positioned too well here. You can see like Hete is going in on him. Cloud comes in but doesn't catch Zekka, only catches Delight, and then smashes super low. Grizzly, this is a really risky move, but it means that it buys enough space. He basically sacrifices his health bar so they can burn down the front line, and once Hete is gone, the fight is won. Vincenzo going in and grabbing the scuttle. I really can't explain that one, but I mean, he wanted to have vision of the potential next Baron take here for Hanwha Life, but that scuttle isn't going to be enough. You need wards really in there.
He just thought that he could get away with it, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Zekka said no.
I mean, they were also like, yeah, we should probably get some vision on this Baron. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, Smash is very close to his Jack shows being completed. And that's going to mean 6 items on the Callista. Is all right, Hate. Looking for a little bit of an angle here, but like ships in the night, they kind of just pass one another. So, yeah, looked cool. Stuff happened, kind of, but doesn't really mean anything at all. So, a real flank to be found. All right, Viper frontlining a little bit here as Cloud throws a dash cannon towards him.
Yeah, he gets rid of his Edge of Night. Assuming it was still up on that hit, but I think it was.
With Chemtech Soul, means that even if they are fighting with lower health bars, Grizzly especially is going to be so difficult to kill. He makes it into that backline once again.
It's really just about Hanwha Life taking out this Sun Disc and then setting up for Baron. They have a really nice set of poke, obviously, while T1 is on the approach. Poby has to be so far away to avoid Viper's poke that it's hard for him to get into scoop range. He doesn't have flash. Starting to close that gap, but there's so much damage on this Baron. The timing here is so thin for T1. They've got to act now.
Yep, Vincenzo trying to get himself in there. Grizzly's over the wall, though. They want the fight. They don't really care about the Baron. Another hail of arrows comes in. Keeper's Verdict goes wide. Grizzly gets back over. Vincenzo gets into the pit. It's going to be a 50-50 secured by... All right, the Varus. Varuses do that, and T1 should know about it as Poby goes golden once again. Empress Divide does absolutely nothing this time. The Pogo could not carry in the last team fight, unfortunately. As Hanwha Life Esports, they will be able to take down a few more as they make their way towards the Nexus. Rooster is already finishing the game, by the way, as Zekka finds an angle and will be able to get on in. Hate he's the last man standing. He's not going to be able to get this one done, even after this teleport does connect.
Another game lost by T1 in a late game Baron fight. I feel like this game should have been lost long ago, but damn, they put up a good fight. Atlas, our longest game of the tournament. 45 minutes here looks like is going to be around the time this Nexus falls, but a very, very big win here for Hanwha Life Esports in a game that looked like it might never end. Viper just keeps hitting the poke, and Grizzly, some of the engages we saw with him on the Vi, I was like, ooh man, don't do that. Like you can't go in alone. Like you're way too deep. But later you start to see why his thought process is like that, because he just goes past the front line, keeps Poby occupied, or in the case of the Callista, keeps the AD carry occupied, so that then Rooster just comes through and burns the front line, drops an equalizer, and it's like, well, maybe you kill Grizzly. He survived a lot of the time, even with 20% health. That's enough. He gets out, and then it's like fight's won, because front line's dead. We keep pushing. Grizzly had a great game, 2 back-to-back games from him that were, I think, very, very solid. Looked risky at times, but the decision-making was definitely there. And then, Poby holding his own, but not enough to turn the tides. Look at the damage numbers here. And that's why we said this team has the better scaling.
Yeah, even though, we often talk about Lethality Varus theoretically falling off. Yeah, he didn't. Not even a little bit. That was absolutely disgusting. And remember, like, Viper's early game wasn't great. Like, Smash was doing so much work in the laning phase, staying really far ahead in farm, making sure that they had as much tempo as they possibly could. But sometimes it's just Viper's Varus. Like, his late game lethality Varus, man. It'll always get you.
Yeah, it's I mean, honestly, it was a good game. Like,
yeah,
the fact that they were able to hold on, and then Viper knew exactly what he needed to do to make sure he could close it out. His accuracy with those arrows, hitting the backline consistently, that was just a good game. And I don't know, this tournament has had so many games. You and I walked into this game feeling like, oh, this is probably going to be a stomp. No, I mean,
not at all.
It looked like it was done for a while, but T1 knew everything they needed to do to stall things out and actually try to get Poby to a place where maybe they could have relevance. They played around Vision so incredibly well, and even when they lost control, they stalled, they slowed the game down. That was just really fun. Like, one mistake from Hanwha Life Esports, and it's a completely different situation, and T1 is sitting at 1-1. Unfortunately for them, though, they are now 0-2 in the group after 2 late game Baron fights don't go their way, but I think that they shouldn't be unhappy with this result, especially in a group that's as tough as this one.
Yeah, and remember, you're not, like, you're playing against LCK teams. This was actually like a challenger roster playing up against mostly the team that won Summer LCK. So I wouldn't beat yourself up in any way, shape, or form. This is an LCK matchup that's coming up, though. This is DK taking on Nongshim, straight up LCK teams up against one another. DK unable to get the better of Gen G. I think you could argue that compositions played a part there. This time, DK will have the opportunity to head over towards the blue side and see whether Nongshim can actually fight them off. So we are going to go to a short break. When we do get back, it is the second half of the day. Don't worry, guys. There's still 4 more matches to go. So we got plenty of League of Legends for you here at Casper Cup. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Kesper Cup. We are more than halfway through. It's actually kind of crazy. 4 more matches to go, and this one is DK versus Nongshim. As we can see here, no changes. We're just going to check out the matchup here between 2 LCK squads. Confirmed.
That's right. So it is the full LCK roster of D plus Kia and the full LCK roster of Nongshim Red Force. Fisher versus Showmaker in the mid lane. You know, going to be an interesting one. Lucid and Sylvie coming from the same timeline in Challengers, but not having the same sort of accolades or success. And then Kingen, you know, an ex-D plus player himself versus his replacement. So very fun to see that one.
A what player? XD plus?
XD plus, yeah.
It's not XDD plus, it's just XD
Well,
plus.
if you want it to be, it can. We're running right into the draft this time.
We
We're
are not
through
wasting
this.
any time.
Yeah.
As already we've got the Azir and the Aurora both banned away. Aurora on blue side, an interesting choice here. As the Ashe going to be the answering ban. Aiming pretty good at that champion just in general. Pretty good at a lot of champions. But I think originally known for Ashe, as the Corki is going to be banned. We've seen a lot of Corki experimentation today. Not anymore.
Not anymore. And I was kind of getting tired of it, so I'm happy to see it gone.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too.
You know, old Corki with the big rocket AP blasto damage was kind of fun because you got to see the boom boom, and now he just kind of go and like all those people. It's not that fun.
I do like the Corgi skin though; it's pretty good.
It is good.
Nocturne as well.
Nocturne's gone. That's
I think
an
just
interesting lineup.
a Sylvie specific.
Yeah.
Because like Nocturne Aurora is all we've really been seeing.
Yep.
And so with Aurora banned, it's an interesting one to be taking away.
It also makes you wonder if they want to try to utilize something that could be vulnerable to Nocturne, like some strong split pushing mage or something like that wants to go super deep. It's just going to be Yone first pick here for Showmaker. He wants it, and he's going to get it.
And now they need to pick Vi.
Or
Otherwise,
Sejuani.
Lucid gets Vi.
Yeah, but if they pick Vi, then Lucid gets Sejuani with Yone, so that's also... Oh, I mean... Like, it could also be, like, top lane Yone, but I don't think so.
Oh, that could be kind of fun.
So strange to see Kingen against D plus Kia. Like, that hasn't really sunk in for me yet.
I know, it's super weird. There's been a few of these, like, swap overs that we've seen already. There are some yesterday as well. And on the bro side of things, you know, Doive against bro.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. But
Mbessa mid, it looks like, as well, into the Yone, which is a matchup we've seen before.
And Fisher would be one to do this. This is the guy that played Neferi on purpose.
That's
true. So he's more than happy to pick this one up. Maple is the other one that started off the Mbessa in the mid lane type story. Now let's see what DK do here. Vi is there for Lucid, so you can just pick that if you'd want to.
I think
make a
taking
lot
the
of
Vi,
physical damage top.
Taking the Vi away from the Rumble here as well seems pretty smart.
Yeah, I like that.
But the Sejuani, I mean, the Sejuani was the other, you know, angle we were talking about. Stronger with Yone individually, but what you take away from Nongshim, I would have liked the Vi here too, especially considering how good Lucid is on it. He's a good Sejuani player, but it's been ups and downs for him on this pick over the last year. And ultimately now we can probably just see a counter pick here for Shiwu in the top lane, or confirmation he'll be playing Yone, and then Showmaker's going to do something here. Will be the Jax.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of power on the top side of the map. Looking very DK.
Very frosty.
Yeah, very frosty, and also very, permanently frosty. But also a lot of 1-3-1, which we know that they love.
And they banned Nocturne, so that makes 1-3-1 a little bit easier if you want to go out deep.
Yeah.
Like I was alluding to earlier, so...
Oh, Poppy's got a fair bit of value into both the Yone and the Jax.
Sejuani, decent as well.
Can be going kind of anywhere as well. Sylvie could be playing it, has been a little bit of a Poppy guy, but Lehens, certainly very capable. The Ziggs, yeah, I like that one a lot. I think aiming would have liked some magic damage to come from the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, I'm kind of at a loss for what else he could really play that is AP here. The Poppy is so tanky.
Vladimir.
I guess that's not out of the question.
I think Vladimir was nerfed on this patch. He was strong for a bit after Worlds, but then
I think he's nerfed on this patch.
Down again.
Yeah, it's a live patch, so
maybe it's a Teemo angle.
I'm gonna veto that. I'm gonna say I hope not.
Have you seen like Teemo's new animations?
Yeah,
like the emotes. They're so like him playing the trumpet is probably the greatest spam emote ever.
Unless like it's your teammate and he's doing it in your jungle instead of going to top lane and you're like actually having the worst time ever.
Yeah, I mean that's less good. That is less good.
That's not what it's supposed to be for. Don't do that. Oh, but yeah, when it's all for fun, it's good. Yeah, when it's all for fun and you're doing it in lane and you're just having a good time. Yeah, I'm about it.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
It's just not when I see a Teemo, I usually dodge. Let's just put it that way. So Kalista is available here, and we're just going to see that locked in. I mean, Nongshim's damage profile is really good here. They have a really strong set of engage as well as big damage with his Rumble. And
it's Varus. I was expecting Kai'Sa.
Well, Kai'Sa banned in that second
right,
slot because
yes.
that would have been some AP damage you could add, especially in terms of the poke. Ezreal also is a pick that we've seen a lot in this tournament, and aiming is so known for. Like the Kai'Sa and the Ezreal are two of his most famous picks in his recent career. And we'll see that Ezreal come through into the Kalista. I wonder what they'll pair this with. I mean, it's not like you have to go all in and go Karma here, but it does suit the rest of the comp as well.
And they don't really know where the Poppy's going either, so it's hard for Beryl to like lock in a counter pick or anything like that at this point in time.
They could go Nico and be hopeful, but I think that's a bit. What if it's like Hui? Beryl's like, I got some more AP damage for you.
Yep, or the Tree. This is one that Beryl has played before, so
Really
gonna be locking that one down.
Deters the Rakan in this situation as well.
Oh, I like that.
Might just be the Poppy comes bottom here. We see Sylvie lock something else. Like, Xin Zhao is still available. His favorite Wukong is still there,
Fisher is doing a lot of giggling.
Yeah, like, what? Is it like support Rumble? And then somebody else is going top? Like, it's going to be Poppy top, and then...
Okay, it's
no, it's just
Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank.
All right, I don't know why he's giggling so much about it. Maybe it's Ambessa support and Blitzcrank mid, and that's why Fisher's losing his mind. But instead, he's the one that's going to be playing at the lady in the mid lane. Sylvie on his Poppy. Very, very comfortable on this pick. And Lehens on the Blitzcrank.
It's Lehens, so, maybe he was just making a joke about how he died to Lehens' Blitzcrank a lot in LCK, and
yeah, that might
they
have
got dominated because Lehens played it a lot and found a lot of success, with it in MSI. It's one of the 2024 picks that we most associate with Lehens' success.
Agreed.
So it's not shocking to see this pretty good into the Maokai. And obviously, Maokai can't really offer back anything of range to the Blitzcrank, so it's not good into Ezreal, because Ezreal can just buffer it with the Arcane Shift, but it is very, very strong at locking Beryl down and winning those trades, where aiming is already going to struggle in those first few levels against the Kalista. I kind of feel like Nongshim have the more all-rounded composition, and it's not like some of our other Kalista comps where you look at it and you go, oh, well, there's just not a whole lot of range, there's not a whole lot of late game, because they have the Poppy and the Blitzcrank to control objectives, and then they have all that extra Rumble damage, and Ambessa just does a whole lot through team fights if they don't find themselves too far behind. But the range issue is there in the Ezreal. If the Ezreal gets out of laning phase, fine, and then he can poke. D+ have great side laning, so they can buy time to get that Ezreal online. Once he gets his 2-item spike, he's going to be relevant, but then when he gets his 3rd item, likely going to be the Spear of Shojin, then he's a really huge threat, and there's just so many ways to get him there when you have a Yone, Sejuani, Jax set up on the top side.
Yeah, I actually think this is much better than what DK put together last time around. With the Kalista, it is so horrifically short range that with a whole bunch of extra melees, which is what Nongshim find themselves with, can be a problem. But dubstep! Hey! 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 Maybe that's the new do-do-do-do. It's just, hey! I'm kind of good with it. All right. Let's
Chat's
see
got to spam it with us next time.
Yeah, come on. Get your haze out. As Kingen will draw first blood and second with the double harpoons. Land's going to be spotted, but he's able to walk his way out. On vision here, our DK. A little bit dangerous. Lahen's moving back on top of a ward means that DK knows that they're safe.
It's going to be a split off back to a more 5-point oriented start here. Although, I say that and I lie because aiming is going top and we're going to have a lane swap to avoid the Kalista matchup. She was actually going to come over here because he is Jax and start to annoy Sylvie. We'll pull Kingan's attention here as well. Not going to commit to killing the popcorn chickens because that's not his style.
Nope. Beryl moving on over here as well as Fisher. Might be able to dash him under a turret, so no twisting advance and anything like that. Has actually taken the Bramble Smash first. That's kind of interesting. Normally we see Sapling taken first.
Yeah, that's been a little bit more common recently. I noticed it yesterday as well. I guess just because of the power of its damage in an early fight, but it really doesn't offer you a whole lot. You mostly just can't reach anything with it, so...
Just for like this situation where you kind of want to be scouting around as you're sort of wandering the map, but I guess at level 1 it does give you the most combat power. It's kind of cool.
And it'll only be for just like a few moments, and then as you can see here, he gets level 2 anyways, so not going to be too much of a game changer.
Yep. See who's going to be able to make their way down towards that bottom side of the map. As Shiwu, you can see, just farming between these turrets alongside aiming.
Just so you know, that's my gold.
He doesn't know yet. He's too young. Shiwu's not been on the team for very long. All right, that was a weird move there from Lehens. Kind of cool. Doesn't result in anything, but it looked awesome.
I mean, it keeps Barrel's health low, and now they could probably look to set up this dive on the Shiwu.
Yeah, Beryl does have his flash still available, but Shiwu's not going to have his life available. Does flash to get out of the way, but the counter-strike was still there. Beryl underneath the turret. They're going to have to settle for some tree, I'm pretty sure, and there it is. Able to tank up the rest of these turret shots. Really beautifully done by Nongshim.
I really love how Lehens played that, though, because he essentially flashed to pull him at a larger range away from where he was. It looked really silly, and it looked very strange, but it actually just basically forced him further back, and then Beryl took so much extra damage there that either way, one of Shiwu or Beryl is going to die in this situation. Beryl coming over. They could have just turned on the Beryl, killed him first, to be honest, and then probably killed Shiwu afterwards, denied him to get to the turret. But you only have so much time to make these decisions. At the end of the day, it's Beryl who goes down. Shiwu played it very well, though. Counter-Strike allows him to survive his...
Sylvie's dead.
Dead by Lucid.
Wait.
Sylvie's only level 2, so Lucid...
There's no assist. Yeah, you're right.
He just got caught in the jungle and then got permafrosted and died, I guess. Didn't have flash. Or no, he looks like he flashed, actually.
Yeah.
Because look, Lucid also has his flash down.
Didn't he? No, he flashed to get out of the way of the turret in the last game bottom lane. So, flash has to be invested here from Fisher as well.
We'll get a replay.
He gets away from Showmaker. Showmaker actually respecting a lot here. The Ambassador doing a bunch of work, not able to find that public execution. Let's see.
He's just greeting here super hard and gets found.
So
it's a bit of a FAFO.
He's good old 200 health. That's the issue.
Faf about find out. Yeah.
Well, Shiwu doesn't actually get an assist. So that's kind of sad. If the Jax had started to get going, that would have been good news for D+. Nongshim going to be able to at least keep that kill just onto Lucid.
Yeah. Still even start to this game here. In terms of the CS, with the lane swap, Ezreal maintaining parity with Jiwoo, so aiming is feeling pretty good about how that started off. Is Lehens?
Oh dear. Okay, Ward goes over and he sees his death. Shiwu will be able to at least stun some people up. Beryl, the leap strike, and he gets out!
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't save the ward for the leap strike, but then he guess just didn't need it ultimately because he can still
he was just warding to see whether there was a blitzcrank, and then as he was doing it, he got hooked. So.
Yeah. I just thought, like, I guess because we have full vision, I will have to see if there's a replay of this. I thought he already saw Lehens heading up there, and so knew he was on the other side, but I guess maybe he didn't, in fact, see him. It may have been just on the edge of vision, which, based on the warding there, like you say, that makes sense. But either way, he still gets a leap strike out, so could have been much worse, and since he didn't die, we won't get a replay, but let's just assume that your theory is correct, because I think that's the most logical explanation as to why that happened.
Yeah, Shiwu actually dodging death pretty incredibly twice in a row now. They're not ahead in farm, in golden or anything like that. Nongshim still managing to carry a bit of a lead, largely to do with Kingen having a great time on this Rumble so far in this game. Was mainly just 1v1 against aiming, so that does make a little bit of sense. All right, we're 5v5ing. That's what's going to happen.
It's grub time.
Well, Shiwu, he's going to get slammed into the wall. It's going to be a rough time. However, he doesn't die, as we have learned. All right, public execution, but that is permafrost, and he's dead. Aiming going to be able to grab that kill, as he normally does. And now Nongshim trying to move back and continuing to see whether they can actually fight them here. These health bars are still so high, though, as Shiwu trying to get into that backline will be able to get on top. of Lehens here, whose Aftershock is going to wear off. The Counter-Strike too good. Aiming gets another. Showmaker gets one. That ulti, just gorgeous. Oh, God, is there going to be any of Nongshim left after this? The answer is no, but everyone on D+, still alive and fighting.
I mean, this is a disaster for Nongshim, trying to continue to force the contest there. And you can understand the theory, considering this is a Jax Yone composition that's going to have so much power. Also, watch Showmaker this whole fight. When he shows up, he could have double ulted here, but he's like, nah, that's not what I want. I want the triple, by the way.
That's what he wanted that game he never ulted once, right?
Yeah.
He just couldn't quite find that window.
That's a throwback. But yeah, like that game or that fight there, you know, he waits for the most opportunistic situation. He's also kind of like, really, they're fighting this? I guess I'll come.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us were feeling that way.
Yeah. So Aiming has 3 kills now.
How do we feel about that?
I feel like if you're a D+ oriented fan, you know, whether you even if you're a fan of D+ or not, you're like, well, I'd like to see them win this because they're 0-1. They got a nice LSK roster. You're feeling pretty good. You're feeling pretty optimistic about the chances of them taking this game because the Ezreal is pushing his way faster towards that 2-item spike. We're still a ways away from it, but you know, he's 900 gold closer than he should be.
Ooh, Lucid almost actually getting in there as Beryl. Okay, Jiwoo going to get caught, but able to hop out of the way of the True Shot barrage. That is certainly big. Oh, never mind. Aiming just going to come over and pop him like a balloon.
It's just insane, like the amount of value that D+ are getting out of their early resistances on some of these champs, and the fact that Nongshim just isn't set up to fight properly. Because when you see, it's almost like the observers are trying to trick us, because you watch and you're like, they can't do this. And then you watch and you're like, oh yeah, no, they absolutely can, because they have more people here. They have a better setup. Beryl is very tanky at this point.
Being able to set off Aftershock just by pressing W as well as Beryl.
That's what I mean. Like he actually just has a Ruby Crystal, but Aftershock alone.
Ooh, here's the ult in. And Showmaker is in trouble. He's going to be able to pull them a little bit of a way. Gets a shield, but he's dead. That is going to be a nice answer back here. Fisher grabs a kill.
Well, Showmaker doesn't have Aftershock, so...
He doesn't. Although he would have been able to proc it. As Aiming, he's going to flash. Hook going to go wide there as Aiming's in Lehens' head. This comes from being teammates for quite some time. Lucid says, you are now dead. And the permafrost not needed, as Aiming just has a Mystic Shot. And 5 kills!
Yeah, this one is... So I'm looking forward to the last 3 games of the day, Atlas.
Me too.
They look pretty interesting.
I'm also looking forward to how this game goes completely off the rails, because I guarantee it will. Like, it's Nongshim versus DK. Like, surely this has got to get stupid in the middle there somewhere.
Well, I mean, it's getting a little stupid already, but, you know, I feel like I know what you mean. Like, you think that basically D+ will kind of botch this a little bit. We'll have an interesting game.
Basically, this game is loaded into the catapult right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, 100%.
We are tightening it.
Yeah.
And we are getting ready to let it rip.
All you need is that one guy with the lever, pull the trigger, and this might help out as up into the sky goes Shiwu. Not able to survive that one. Very surprising that that is his first death.
Also very surprising he decides to flash there at that moment.
Yeah.
But, you know, he really doesn't want to lose any more farm. And King is sitting here at full health after this gank, has teleport advantage as well. Like, he just TP'd back in. So now King is like, cool, I have a pretty nice advantage. It's about to get bigger. So that's definitely helping tighten the catapult as well. And maybe he's starting to, with some very dull scissors, you know, cut the rope that's holding it tight, or start yanking on the lever a little bit. Depending on what type of catapult it is, you know.
No, I think that made sense with my headcanon of what the catapult was going to look like.
So... that's not great for the chances of the Jax that survived a lot but hasn't been able to get much farm, which is going to weaken his side laning. Aiming does not have flash now.
Is likely to die. Might be able to take Jiwoo with him, but the answer is nope. The barrier not going to be nearly enough, and 1 versus 2 is not good enough. And Wolf, this is I think we have at least put the rock into the air.
Yeah, no, I think the rock's in.
Yeah.
I think the rock has a DK written on it. It's about to get flung.
Maybe it's a barrel, actually, because barrels often have DKs on them.
Yeah.
In my experience, after playing a lot of Nintendo.
Let's just talk about the larger Kong at this point. Let's not talk about the smaller one at this point in time. Cranky, Trixie, that's okay.
Yep.
That's fine, all right. Funky Kong is okay still, but...
what about Lanky Kong?
Lanky... I heard he was at some weird parties. Aiming is trying to barrier the rend as well, hoping he can get that damage in, which is very cute. It's not the most important summoner for him in this game state where we've kind of moved past the early 2v2. But he was optimistic.
Were you a Funky Kong abuser?
Sometimes, yeah. I did not... you know, in Mario Kart for the Wii, like, he was super top tier there.
Oh, yeah, man. I only played Funky Kong.
Aiming?
As Aiming could be in trouble yet again. Fish is going to flash after him, misses that button, but he just dashes forever, a billion times. Bramble Smash from Beryl, going to be able to get him a little bit further. As wow, okay, I thought that took a branch. I guarantee that took a branch.
Yeah.
As Aiming was 5-0, by the way, everyone. That was a while ago. Now he's 5-2.
Okay.
And this game will require a little bit more thinking.
No, yeah, it's Gio's going to get this whole turret and all the plates as well, and it's solo plate gold right now he's grabbing. He won't be able to get that last plate actually just yet, but with his friends here, I think there's a pretty good chance in a moment he will.
Yeah.
Dragon's up in 20.
Beryl not going to be able to do too much about it. And Nongshim, they got the first dragon.
Yeah, and they are poised to get the second. They're going to back actually right now, though, and reset for it, so we will have a small battle here.
We might have a fight. I don't know who my money's on for that one, though.
I mean, even though Aiming died twice, he still does have his Triforce now for this fight. He does have half of his tier stack.
He had it in the last death and the death before.
He still has it for this fight, Atlas. Okay, and he's got two extra long swords.
It doesn't stop him from having it. It's very true.
No, it's true. He's got it. So he unless he dies instantly, look, he's got his flashback up. He's been playing like he's had it this whole time in those two deaths where he didn't have it and he died. But I think that in this next fight, because he has Flash and he has this Triforce, his impact will be significant. Assuming we do fight, because
they
we're kind of looking like we're not going to.
And 5 grubbies is a lot of grubbies.
It's very good for a Jackson aside, even if the Jax is significantly behind.
Well, Showmaker with a little bit of a snapback here. I think claimed himself some plate gold or something of that ilk.
Uh-oh, he's going in.
Oh, no, Aiming. I'm worried about this. Not for Jiwoo, but for Aiming, because there was another God Hand making his way over. Lahen's going to be spotted this time. Oh, I thought he just threw out the hook. Oh, man. That was scary. I thought that, once again, Aiming was going to get hooked.
Yeah, not worried about Jiwoo getting hit by that. No.
No, not even a little bit.
We're not even on the dragon. It's fine. Makes Jiwoo back. Jiwoo's like, nobody's fighting for the dragon. Relax, Aiming.
Oh,
Trying to pump up those damage numbers or what?
Relax, Atlas. He's in hook range again. Oh, God. Okay, you can, of course, buffer Arcane Shift, and it feels pretty okay. So
as long as you
don't
not in
as much danger, but it still scares me. As all right, Rift Herald going to get claimed here. As all right, Beryl finds an angle. Sylvie just gets obliterated. And now Jiwoo actually looking for Jiwoo. They do manage to get the cleanse, and somehow that hook doesn't find anyone. There were 4 buddies. As all right, Kingen going for the... Oh, man, how did that not collect the Rumble?
That was crazy.
Showmaker makes it out alive, and that also will mean the Rift Herald gets a headache trying to take down this inner turret.
Surely they do Dragon, right?
Things are going too well here, Wolf. They're going too well.
Like, surely they just go take Dragon now, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I mean...
Lucid? You collapse on Ambessa, maybe push her out. You know, you got the whole extra charge thing going on. You know, maybe just go in on that. So they get the Herald, and then Nongshim, who were heading towards it to contest, are just caught here. And I feel like Beryl didn't even... He could be ulting here and maybe even picking up a second, but...
Oh, that was a real shame for Lehens. He almost hit 3 people.
Yes.
But instead hit no one.
They give the dragon!
There's the dragon.
It's been given.
It has been written.
Relinquished, maybe, is a better term in this case.
Yeah, something like that. Aiming has ulti, so maybe he tries to fire that to look for a steal.
Yeah, maybe they've seen the future and they know exactly where Aiming is ult the exact right time, so I'm actually getting ahead of myself.
Dear. Some revenge here for Aiming. Lehen's going to flash. No Hex Flash?
Lehen's, yeah, he didn't have it. I noticed that earlier when he had that crazy flash play in the bottom lane. I was a little bit surprised. So it's Lehen's flash for Dragon.
Oh,
but
that's why they didn't take the Dragon. Yeah. This Dragon is just not the one that they really wanted. Beryl just sidestepping nicely, except for that one. Twisted advance, trying to get himself out of there. Public execution coming down. Showmaker's like, you're dead, buddy. And he's right. King is going to be able to burn down the tree. optimistic ward clearing there from Beryl, but making aiming feel better about his previous decisions.
True.
The Ezreal voice line timing was too good, actually.
It's just so different in Korean than the English one.
What? It's not that different. It's still same attitude-wise, right?
Yeah. No, it's just I don't know. It's a good vibe. I think eventually Showmaker should be able to knock this turret down. Not with this cannon wave, though, sadly for him, but it is very, very low. A gust of wind could knock it over. Showmaker is hoping that doesn't happen because he wants to collect the gold. This Sejuani sitting on 106, like Lucid has almost 100% KP in this game and has been very relevant, but it's really the question of, you know, once aiming's Muramana completes here, because he's at 300 of 360, you know, how much D+ can get done, but we need to see a proper group up and a real team fight and not just like the silliness.
Yeah.
The fact that like aiming got 5 kills early on this game because of big mistakes and silliness, and then D+ did some silliness of their own, and then Nongshim is kind of like, oh, we're not completely doomed. They're mostly doomed, but like not completely doomed. And I don't want to predict anything. Like it's hard to analyze this game because it's just been so.
Oh, I've seen this movie before. Oh, it turned out differently this time.
Yeah, different twist in the remake.
Oh, wow. I didn't think you were allowed to do that and still call it a remake. So unfair.
Ask Square Enix about that one.
Yeah. All right, Lehens. Still threatening. Still scary. But even Jiwoo, in position. Let's see whether a team fight can actually happen here for Nongshim. That's the thing that I have on my mind, is I think that there's still a chance. And Kingin hasn't really been team fighting at all. He's been getting fed, you know. They found some picks in side lanes. But he hasn't really been involved in any team fights, and we know that this guy can land equalizers in really good spots.
I think the thing about this scenario for Nongshim, for me, is that they have the tools to win from behind. Like Blitzcrank, one of the best champions in the game at just accidentally killing somebody. You know, like by accidentally, I mean like getting an unexpected pick. You know, D+ just don't have that pocket of vision. He pulls somebody in, a carry, somebody with a big bounty like the Sejuani. Lucid gets taken out, and then boom. You know, we win an objective, you're on soul point, different scenario. Like, they do have a set of champions, a composition that can allow for some really cool comeback stuff, but it needs to start sooner than later, as this Ezreal is now, you know, 2 Qs away.
Ooh. This is a little frightening, as Shiwu, yeah, there was an equalizer down on his minion wave. He's going to have to throw down the ulti, but it's not going to be enough to save him. 4 members of Nongshim down here. Aiming going to try and trade this for an inner turret in the mid lane, and they might even be able to transition towards top side as well, with nothing in the bot lane to get.
That extra gold to do extra damage to that turret and his W, which allows him to get so much money there off of that play. They're not going to stick around here on the top turret, even though they'd love to get some inners of the gold. Barrel will get one demolished, like, bing.
Oh, no, mistimed the demolish. Feels bad, man. Sylvie is going to try and punish him. Let's see whether Beryl is going to be okay. Looks like he probably will be, as Fisher and Lucid are fighting. Permafrost comes in, follows him with the Glacial Prison.